네, 이제 내빈들께서
Now, distinguished are ready to take a seat. So let me start this forum. Nice to meet you. Let me extend my welcome, and please give them a big round of applause. So please give them a big hand since they are entering this conference hall and taking a seat. Nice to meet you. Let me greet you. Hello. I am Kim Yimi. I'm belonging to Korean Association of Life Learning Cities. Nice to meet you. So let me extend my warm welcome to all of you. This forum, we are providing the simultaneous interpretation for Korean and English. So who are attending this conference offline, you can receive the translation service. Korean channel is number 1 and English channel is number 2. And this international forum is also supporting, is jointly organized by the Korea Association of the Life Learning Cities as well as the UNESCO UIL, Gwangmyeong Metropolitan City, and also Ministry of Education, and also the EVS are now sponsoring this forum. So now before we start this forum, since participants around the world are now joining online, so their local time is early in the morning, so they will join in the second part of this forum. So let me start the first part of this forum. And also the leaders of these local governments for the learning cities, they are also participating through the YouTube and also online. And now our association as well as UNESCO are now broadcasting live this forum. This forum documents are available at the Gwangmyeong Metropolitan City website and also Lifelong City Center. So please refer to the website and download these documents. So now we're going to start this forum, international forum, UNESCO Learning Cities, Healthy Learning Cities, Era of Climate Crisis, Global Thinking and Learning Cities Action Direction, How Will You Live? With that theme, we are going to kick off this start. Please give us a big round in order to open this international forum. Now, despite the busy schedule, we have a distinguished guest. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to each person. Please welcome them with a warm applause. First, Chairman Park Seung-won, Mayor of the Metropolitan City, also the Chairman of the Korean Association of Life Learning Cities. Please welcome with a round of applause. And also we have a UNESCO participants. And the chairholder of the UNESCO Chair Global Health and Education, Didier Jourdan, is with us. Please welcome him with a round of applause. And also, the joint organizer, UNESCO UIL, Ms. Mary McGalley, is now joining us. Please welcome her with a round of applause. And also, we have leaders of the local governments for Life Learning Cities. They might arrive a little bit late. As soon as they arrive, we are going to invite. So Mayor Park Kyung-gi of Chungnam Asan City, please welcome him with a round of applause. And also we have Mayor Byung-taek Nim of Siheung, Gyeonggi Province. Please welcome him. And we have a Dongdaemun-gu District Office, Mayor Choi Hong-yeon is now with us. And also our association, not just the mayor and governor of the cities or local governments, but also we have education leaders. So Lee Sang-gi, the superintendent of Siheung Office of Education, now joining us. And also we have participants from Sejong City. So Song Gi-sung from Song Gi-sung of the Sejong City, please welcome him. And also Life Learning Cities Hosan City, Lee Jong-gi is now joining us, and also we have a Goyang City participant, Kim Ho-seo, expert. And also we have a Seoggu district of Daejeon City participants. Please welcome. And also we have the head of the Anyang Education Office. She is now attending online. Let me introduce later. And also we have Eun Pyong-gu, Director General. Please welcome her with a round of applause. And Life Learning City Yeonsu District Coordinator Yong Jun-kim is now joining us. Please welcome him. And Osan City, which is the representative city of Gyeonggi Province, please welcome him. The representative from Osan City, and also Jeonnam, this Jeonnam area representative from Yeosu City, and also we have a Director General of Gwangmyeong City now. And thank you very much for joining us. Next will be the professional expert group, the Korean expert group. So, Chair of UNESCO, Life Learning City Council Committee of UNESCO, and now with us, Choi Hoon-sil, please welcome. And also we have a local council member of the Presidential Committee of National Cohesion. Please welcome him. And also we have EBS, the center head of the Korean EBS broadcast system. Seo Dong-won is with us. And we also have a journalist from the newspaper. So Gyeongyang Daily journalist Park Sung-jin is with us. We need a big hand for the introduction of overseas guests. We have a Esther Kimani from Nairobi, Kenya. Please welcome her with a round of applause. And we have a Ms. Sara Valencia from Bogota of Colombia. Please welcome her. And Mr. Alex Howells, representing UNESCO UIL. Please welcome him. And also, let me connect the Hamburg in Germany. Is it possible? So we have UNESCO, the Chief Program Coordinator at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. Please wave your hands. And we also have Education Office Leader Go Ha-young from the Anyang office. And the other one is from the Ireland. We have Mr. Dennis Barrett. So Germany, Korea, and also Ireland all are the representatives from all these countries are now joining online. So now we're going to open this forum with the opening speech. So Gwangmyeong City Mayor Park Seung-won is going to provide an opening speech. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
네, 안녕하세요. 인사드리겠습니다. 전국 평생학습 도시협의 회장 광명시장 박수원입니다. 반갑습니다.
I am the chairperson of the National Lifelong Learning City Council. Nice to see you. I'm delighted to host the International Forum for Lifelong Learning Cities held here in Gwangmyeong in collaboration with the UNESCO, CLIC, and UIL. So every official really welcome, and I would like to extend my gratitude to you. And Mr. Park Kyung-hee and Mr. the mayors and Mr. Choi Hoon-young, and my special thanks to go to you. And EBS officials and lifelong education experts and journalists, I really like to welcome you. Let's give a big round of applause. Especially those who prepare for this event, who arrive at the Incheon airport, UNESCO, UIL, Mary McCollin, and Alex Howells. Also, the speakers of UNESCO Health and Education Commission, Didier Jourdan, and Miss Esther Kiani, and Miss Saran Valencia, and Mr. Nancy Balenci. Really, I would like to welcome all of you. And let's give a really big round of applause to those who come here from abroad. 190 cities of the lifelong. So we are working together. So 79 countries around the world, and there are more than 200 cities are working with us. So proudly, I can say that there are 53 cities in Korea joined it. So K-Wave is really spreading to K-learning. So K-lifelong learning is really now popular and spreading. So along with the global cities, we are working with them, and we will strengthen our alliances and solidarity. So this network is provide the direction where we have to go ahead and go towards for the cooperation. So we have to show our power and our strength. The world is changing very rapidly these days. So when it comes to life learning cities, we have to set the clear goals and direction with the solidarity. With this, we can overcome the challenges such as climate crisis and wars. So the really great power of life learning cities will demonstrate it. During this event, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you who participate in this event. And let's work together for the development of life learning cities and as well as solidarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause for his wonderful opening speech. So let me connect at the Hamburg in Germany. So the Chief Program Coordinator, Mr. Raul Valdez Cotera at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning is going to provide a congratulatory remarks. Let us hear his congratulatory remarks, please. Since we are providing the translation, please understand. So, Mr. Lau, are you ready?
I am very ready, yes.
Please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear mayors, city representatives, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raúl Valdez. I'm the Chief Program Coordinator from the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. And it's really a pleasure to be with you online. I would love to be there with you in situ, but allow me to make some reflections about today's event. And just to let you know that 10 years ago, based on the experience of the cities in Republic of Korea, in Japan, in China, is that the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning brought the discourse on learning cities to the international arena and established the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. The network opened to membership application in 2015 and how now almost 300 member cities from 67 countries attracting around 310 million inhabitants that are part of these cities. Today we are on the way to celebrate 1 decade of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities and crucially determine its future direction. There is no better time than the present event in the city of Gwangmyeon to start celebrating and reflecting on the network's multifaceted contribution to cities to date. The concept of learning cities has proven to be very successful to link global goals to local communities. Learning cities provide an excellent example on how local actors can promote lifelong learning as an essential ingredient to foster an environment that is socially just, ecologically sustainable, economically productive, politically democratic, and culturally vibrant. The Learning City approach is an effective strategy to engage citizens, mobilize a diversity of development sectors, institutions, and community groups to provide learning opportunities to all, while making the city a better and more sustainable place to live. I'm excited to follow online the discussions today and the launch event for the Lifelong Learning for Health in Cities, a guide, organized by the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning and the Korean Association of Lifelong Learning Cities. Thank you very much for your support.
네, 큰
The
박수로.
publication that will be launched is a collaboration between UIL and the UNESCO Chair Global Health and Education. The guide represents the culmination of efforts that began in Yeonsu, Republic of Korea, during the 5th International Conference on Learning Cities in 2021, in the middle of the pandemic. So the topic was and is today as relevant as it should be in all cities in the world. Together, we will trace the significant milestones that led to the guide's creation and explore strategies and insights related to promoting lifelong learning for improved health outcomes within urban settings. Well, let me use this opportunity to acknowledge the great support of the cities in the Republic of Korea for the expansion of the network. Already the mayor mentioned the relevance of the 53 cities that are part of the GNLC, but a lot of cities still not part of the GNLC, but are really reinforcing the concept of learning, lifelong learning cities in the country. Wish you all a very prosperous event, a forum that will bring the cases, elements, knowledge to all participants. Enjoy very much. Really a pleasure to be with you accompanying. Thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다. 현장에서 큰 박수.
So
So he bought the plane ticket. However, because of some reason, he is now with us offline. So in the second session, we will hear from another speaker, and then the Superintendent Go Ha-young of Anyang Office of Education will give us a brief remark. Please show us the screen. So there is some time for preparation. So the Mayor Siheung City Hall, Im Kyung-taek, will deliver a congratulatory remarks. Please give him a big round of applause. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Im Kyung-taek, the mayor of Siheung. The 2023 International Forum on Lifelong Learning Cities in collaboration with the UNESCO UIL, I really like to congratulate. Now we experience abnormal weather conditions. So the healthy cities and the earth thinking and how to practice this kind of lifelong learning. Under the theme, the conference is held. So this is hosted by Mayor Park Seung-won. So I'd like to extend my thank you to Mayor and other co-hosts. So local governments have to do the lifelong learning to support individuals, to support local community and develop local communities in a sustainable way. Through this forum, So I'd like you to realize the lifelong learning, and I'd like to share with you. And last, I'd like to express my gratitude to those who prepare for this event. And all of the participants, I wish you all the best. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 다시 한번
Thank you very much. Once again, please give him a round of applause for his wonderful remarks.
중요하니까요.
So our forum is very important.
그 안양가청
So
교육자님의 인사는 지진갑 때
the remarks from the head of the Anyang Education Office, we are going to hear in the Q&A session. So first part of this forum is the Mayor Summit Forum. This is a kind of a summit talks for the Korea's lifelong city.
협력과 연대를
So this is a purpose
논의하는 장입니다.
of the cooperation and solidarity between Korea's lifelong learning cities and also the UNESCO Life Learning Center. So, Park Soo-won, the mayor of the Gwangmyeong City, as well as the chairman of the Korean Association of Lifelong Cities.
강명이라는 주제로
So, with the topic, he's going to make a presentation. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Please use your microphone.
제목이 보니까
As you can see, the topic, the Gwangmyeong as a lifelong learning city through the lens of number one. This presentation is prepared by those in charge of the presentation. So, first, beginning, one and only, unity, and a new beginning. That is the meaning of number one.
이번 발표를 하는 것으로
So the topic of my presentation is looking at the Gwangmyeong through the lens of number one. So Gwangmyeong declared the lifelong city for the first time in March 1999. So the Gwangmyeong declared as South Korea's first lifelong learning city 2 years ahead of the national policy, and we also built life learning center for the first time. What can you see with this?
지역 상황에 맞게
So depending on the local condition, we adopted the policies.
그때도 지금도
So Gwangmyeong then and now there is no university and there is no university. So there is no higher tertiary school institutions at the time. We just have one library and well-being center. However, citizens have really high desire for lifelong learning. So we contemplated how to reflect it. So we built lifelong learning center,
하고 조례를 만들고
and we enacted ordinances.
그래 평생학
So
만들어서 시민들한테
we have to build a lifelong learning center to support our citizens.
시가 학습 도시로 선언한
So to declare our city as a lifelong learning city,
시민들한테 선언하는
we have to declare it to our citizens. It is more meaningful. So at the time, we felt like this. So declaration of the lifelong learning city, and after that, we have to come up with the strategies. So we have to decide among the two options. The first option won over the option two.
여러 가지 그 좌초의 부딪히게
So maybe there was a possibility to bump into obstacles. So we had to work with the experts.
도시 선언과
So after we did build the lifelong learning center and declaration of the lifelong learning city at the same time. And also we discussed with our experts.
교육부가
The Ministry of Education really was surprised at this.
많은 전문가가
And many experts nationwide came to visit Gwangmyeong City. Why did you decide to do it? They asked. And it was welcomed by other cities as well.
지역적인 문제를 철저히
So we really took a close look at the problem of Gwangmyeong. So there was no life learning centers. However, really citizens had a high desire for lifelong learning.
이 선언문은
So the declaration is, at that time, the philosophy of the city, and the city wanted to set the direction, so we made the declaration according to it. As you can see, the context.
평생 배우며 살아갈 수 있는 자랑
So we can be a proud city where we can learn forever, and we can build our capacity, and we can become economically independent. So we have to build the philosophy of this city. With this philosophy, we started. We didn't start within any philosophy. We started with this philosophy. 20 years later,
아까 20년 전에는 제가 그 당시
so 20 years ago, at that time, I worked as a Secretary General of the Lifelong Learning City. 20 years later, I became the mayor of Gwangmyeong City.
습에 기득권이 있더라.
There was some elite group of lifelong learning. So the declaration by Gwangmyeong, however, those participants, they're regular participants only. So there are some vulnerable and marginal people did not enjoy the lifelong learning. So we started over again. We built the center for the disabled. At that time, we did in reverse because we had the confidence. So we built the center first, and then we promulgated the declaration.
그다음에 이제
Next,
갖고 있는 것이
so
광명시민 평생학습 지원금
there we also provide the voucher for the lifelong learning to our citizens. So in 2020, the January, for the first time, we proposed to provide the voucher. However, it took 3 years because there was the council opposed it.
올해 3월에
This year, March, the voucher ordinance passed, and then if a resident reaches 50 years old, they can get the 300,000 Korean won for the lifelong learning. As I mentioned earlier, the world is changing quickly, and we are living in the digital era. To adapt to the digital era, we have to change also quickly. So we have to provide the opportunity for the variety of people. So as a basic income, the lifelong learning allowances should be provided. However, if we lower the age to 25 years old, it will require really huge amount of budget. So we decided to give the voucher for lifelong learning to those who are 50 years old or older. Because at that age, they retire from their company, so they have time for additional study, so they can use this money wisely.
광명시가
Gwangmyeong City
올해 했어요.
so held the lifelong learning festival. There is no celebrity participated in this festival. The planning is done by every citizen who participate in this festival. So they are the ones who are in charge of the festival. One person who participated in this festival said he participated in the booth and had lots of experiences before. And this time, he built a booth for himself and provided the experience opportunity to other people, and he felt really rewarding. That means that because he built the we just gave some organization to build a booth. However, this time we gave the opportunity to build booth to everyone. So, related to lifelong learning experience, many people apply for it. And many people prepared and experienced. So this festival was held this year. In 2002, for the first time, lifelong learning festival took place. There were no celebrities, no singers participated. However, still many people really like this festival.
함께하는 광명자치대학이 있습니다.
So there is an autonomous university. This university is working with our residents. There is the climate crisis department and social department. So these departments can kind of grow up the social funds. So citizens have a 1-year course. So with this, they can do the community service and they can donate their talent and they can do the activities with other like-minded people and they can turn into lecturers. So over the last 3 years, we ran this program. The composition of department was done by the City Hall. However, this time it is in charge, the citizens are in charge of making the departments. Ecosystem department, city brand department, those kind of departments have been made by citizens. Also, this program is run by City Hall. So we also working with the global cities, as you can see in this forum. So we participate in the international forum from 2017. So Yeonsu held the international forum. We also participate in that forum. And 7 other local governments participated in UIL, and Hamburg, Germany, and München, Germany, and Bonn, and Kukuru City, France. These programs were joined by local government representatives. Tomorrow, those people will join us, and they will talk about lifelong learning cases. As I mentioned earlier, so beyond Gwangmyeong City, we will work with the global cities to achieve the lifelong learning. So we are working with the global cities. There are lifelong learning programs. Among them, passionately, we do the carbon neutrality program with real passion. So those who work as public officials in the public sectors. So 새마을 wisdom and living a really right way and local autonomy, these kind of things, they are really public activity. This is the new term coined by me. There is no one attacking this term. When there is the flood, disasters, when there is the city crisis, they are working with us, and they really want to help those people in need. Carbon neutrality, we have to train those people. On the side, they can provide a real help because they have a sound organization and really powerful organization. So we started to train them. And with the real pleasure, they are learning in our lifelong learning center. So with the carbon neutrality, we can build sustainable cities. I think that is the most important mission we have. Gwangmyeong City will continuously keep going, will continuously make efforts without any interruption. Thank you for your attention.
Please give him a round of applause to the Mayor Park Seung-won, also the chair of the Korean Association of Life Learning Cities. So please give him a round of applause once again. So second is that in order to have create a sustainable life learning city in relation to the law that will be expanded starting next year, the Asan City Township and Neighborhood of Lifelong Learning Centers operations directions with that topic, the mayor of Asan City, Gyeonggi Park, is going to talk about. The topic is the Asan City Township and Neighborhood Lifelong Learning Centers operations and directions. Next year, there will be a revision of the lifelong related law. So regarding that, he's going to make a presentation. Please welcome him. It's really nice to meet you. I am Park Gyeonggi. I'm a mayor of Asan City.
우리 아산시는 지금 광명시장님께서 발표
As the previous speaker mentioned, our Asan City is just started. This lifelong learning cities started earlier than any other city, and also we have a diverse city program, but it is not complete. Our Asan City is now pushing forward innovation to adopt the new programs. That's something that I want to share through this presentation. First, I'd like to talk about the background of this initiative and also direction, also content, and also result, as well as future plans. So what our city has received is going to be spread again across the township and neighborhood, and those will be adjusted to the characteristics of each township and neighborhood. So far, as a city, we have our lifelong learning center. So most of the programs were available, and these centers provide that programs. But we have 5 different universities in Asan City. So starting from 2006, Asan City was designated as the lifelong learning city, and they run different programs. We have 5 different universities by district. We have a university in eastern and western and southern part. So our the Life Learning Centers programs has been commissioned by the university. So the programs that we directly cover is one thing, but the other programs organized by the college would be different because university has their human resources and also the expertise. So our centers were learning our programs, and the programs that are learned by the university. These programs are mutually beneficial, and also we can make a comparison. So there are pros and cons and good advantages and disadvantages. We can embrace each other so that we can make a kind of mutual growth for each other. However, the problem is that the districts, like the township and neighborhood. So there are some people who are coming all the way to this center to get the lifelong education. But our city, we have a countryside where the neighborhood or township, 9 townships, which are quite far from the center, lifelong center, and also colleges. So how we allow them to access those kind of lifelong education? That's something we need to address. And also we have 50 villages. Some villages have 30 households, or large villages has 70 households. So we have a very quite a lot number of villages, but this village does not have the center for lifelong learning. So how we can make them embrace or enjoy the lifelong programs? They shouldn't be marginalized in this kind of benefits. So Asan City is kind of combination of the urban context as well as countryside. So among the local governments, we have a number 1 in terms of industry. We have a Samsung semiconductor and also the industrial complex. Even though it is an industrial city, but neighborhood and surrounding area, we also have a countryside and farming communities. So in terms of learning the administrative work, we need to have a kind of upgraded high level of the administration and governance work. So township and also neighborhood, there is a autonomous center, autonomous the residence autonomous centers. These residence autonomous centers are also providing certain programs. So we have a 17 township, but we just work on the 5 townships for the pilot program. Rest of for the lifelong centers, rest of them are still running the lifelong studies through the residence autonomous centers. So with this kind of splitting, we are not able to have a very professional and dedicated lifelong education. So the roles of the residence autonomous centers and the roles of the lifelong learning centers, their work should be strictly splitted. In order to have the professional lifelong learning, we need to have a dedicated professional staff members along with a curriculum. So in the 17 township, we have a full converts them into the Residence Autonomous Council. With this kind of reshuffling, with this council, so residents can have the base and foundation to do certain autonomous activities. With that, we are able to divide and split the features. We have a function of the Lifelong Learning Center. So we have the autonomous residence autonomous councils for 14 and also 17, the township, and also the lifelong learning center. So for overall, we definitely designate the lifelong learning center for each township. So installation of the centers for all this township is not complete. We are now underway. Last year we set up this system and designate the lifelong learning centers for townships, and also we need to provide manpower in human resources to make that happen. But that is also the issue. So not just autonomous centers have their own the work, but the lifelong learning center in each township, their features and functions are not complete due to the lack of resources. The programs that belong to the residence autonomous centers will be relocated and to the lifelong learning centers in the township, and the lifelong learning center in each township will enjoy the programs that our city government provide as well as college provide, but those programs will be very much adjusted and customized to the needs of the residents. For example, in urban context, we have many apartment complex. The young wives, they can enjoy the various hobbies and cultural and artistic programs. They prefer those kind of programs. But the residents in the countryside or rural communities where young people are not much in population, so they have elderly citizens. So these elderly citizens are looking for programs to enhance their health. So it turns out that characteristic of the demands by each region, but each community is different. So we need to reflect the needs and demands of residents, so that make specialized and dedicated programs in each community center, lifelong center. So by 2025, 17 townships, lifelong center is going to be fully built and set up. To this end, lifelong learning center function is going to be defined, as I told you before. So the residence autonomous centers programs for lifelong learning will be relocated to the lifelong center, and then new programs will be developed. And for that, we need to secure more budget to make that to create the certain programs and provide them to our the lifelong learning centers in each township. So by 2030, so the registration, 50 kind of different courses are available for the township lifelong learning center. What's the changes between the 2021 to 2025? Last year there are 2 lifelong learning centers. This year 7, and next year 17 lifelong learning centers. So overall, the township will have this lifelong learning center. The issue is that what kind of personnel and human resources will be deployed in each center, and also we need to have a platform that will run the life learning programs. So online platform is going to be built. That's our plan. So 230 million Korean won or $20,000 is going to be spent. So people just access online and then register and apply, and then also search the programs, and also even the payment can be made even with a mobile. So from the desktop PC, you can see this program through this platform. This will also link to the mobile, so you can search program, apply for that, and then pay for that. That's the system we really want to build as a platform. If that is the case, young people can easily access to this kind of program through the platform, and also elderly citizens in the rural communities. For them, we are going to designate one personnel in the Life Learning Center dedicated to help them to access this program. So 17 different personnel dedicated to the online platform. So this year we are going to deploy all this personnel to each center. So we have a professional personnel in Life Learning Center as well as autonomous residence autonomous center. So far we don't have a dedicated personnel for residence autonomous center, but we are going to deploy them. There were part-timers or so civil servants who are kind of working as a proxy. So and also advisor from the civic community, they are just doing the volunteer work. That was a kind of existing practice. So we don't have a dedicated professional personnel working for the platform or program. So we hire the civil servants. So we're going to deploy one person for each township. It could be very hard work because it consumes a lot of budget, and also you should learn and manage this manpower. So for this township, 17 dedicated personnel will report what is the activities of the in the autonomous center, residential autonomous center for the program to the government level. So right now, we are going to have 17 more personnel. So maybe hire the government district like Provence. They said that there are too many personnel will be deployed for each the center. So since we have one person deployed for the residence of autonomous center, so this person will cover not just the residential autonomous center, but also the life learning center that will be established later. If there is more work in the lifelong learning center, we can hire one more person. Our previous plan is to designate one person for the residence autonomous center and one person for the lifelong learning center, but it could be a little bit delayed. Anyhow, we are going to run the programs that is very much specialized and customized to the needs of the people in the township. That's our plan. So it's not the cater to the needs and convenience of the city government. Rather, township residents, they will find their own needs and ask their own their interests to be reflected in the program. So our township, there are various needs and diversity in their needs. So we are respecting the diversity, and then based on them, we can run the different programs. So far, we just provide a uniform and the lifelong learning programs. So, but we need to change. So not as a one uniform model. You can see that we have 16 different township, 3 colleges, and 1 city government centers for life learning, so that we can come up with ultimately 21 different life learning models and programs. Operation is also possible accordingly. So our Asan City is not incomplete, rather is now undergoing the innovation. So I believe that there are many life learning centers across the nation they need to also recognize, respect the needs of the township and create a dedicated personnel and dedicated team that requires a kind of political will and determination of the head of the each local government. So with this kind of dedicated people, we can create a certain professionalism in terms of needs, and also we can we can operate this kind of learning center which reflect the characteristic of the needs in that community. So looking forward, we are going to study what is happening in our operation since we kind of build a system, and above that system we're going to kind of plant quality programs. For example, various programs that have been learned by the Gwangmyeong City, led by the Mayor Park Sung-wan. We really want to benchmark that and then reflect our programs. Mayor Park Sung-man mentioned the Center for the Disabled, the Handicapped. I believe that that is really good. I really want to make the city free from the inconvenience felt by the disabled. So we are the first. I'm sorry. We really want to become a kind of first the spa city. So starting from tomorrow, we're going to have a spa festival. So many the participants from around the world are now joining this festival preparation. So according to the characteristic of the spa city, we are going to have a healing spa that is only allowed used for by these the disabled. And also when there is a performance and events, we need to have provided certain mobility and for the disabled to freely enjoy the programs, and also we really want to create a complex facilities dedicated to the disabled, gym and swimming pool and other stadium that is really helpful for the disabled to enjoy different programs. And also we really want to throw a festival for the disabled, art festival, and also cultural programs for the disabled and handicapped. Our disabled the people's welfare policy is something that I put priorities. So I believe that some policies focusing on the disabled and the elderly have been kind of in the blind spot and not very much considered by many political leaders. But I'm not the case. I'm going to focus on them. So we are going to create programs and facilities for the disabled. That's all. Thank you very much. That was a very passionate presentation made by the Mayor Park. Mayor from Asan City. So now we're going to have a panel discussion. It was supposed to span about 30 minutes, but since we are running out of time, we're going to have a 25-minute panel discussion. So I believe that the topic and contents these two speakers made is very much trendy. So we are going to invite the Professor Chen Shik, and Professor Chen Shik is going to run on this panel discussion with Mary McGully. So let me invite Chair Chen Shik. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Most of the participants is the Korean people. So I would like to say something in Korean language, and also the Mary McCully, please, the moderating in English, please. Okay. 우선 먼저 오늘
First of all, so first, Life Learning City, Gwangmyeong City. So Life Learning City, the specialization strategy, looking at the number 1, and also Asan City's efforts for the operation direction for this township and neighborhood life learning cities. Thanks to the Asan City's effort, there was a change, a revision in the life learning city related life learning related laws. So far, the national and central level life learning program was important, but as you can see, there is a life learning centers deployed in or built in the Asan City. So the Asan City showed good examples, the good collaboration between the government and private sector as well as academy. So we were able to learn the lessons and cases of the Asan City and Gwangmyeong City. So we can get certain the discussion regarding the implementation and harmony implication about these cases by inviting the experts and in the life learning city at home and abroad. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to share with us. So who is going to open this panel discussion? Please feel free to go ahead.
Professor Unchil Choi. I think I'll go ahead with the first question then to get us started for today. I think I'll start with the first question to the mayor of Gwangmyeong, who's here with us. I'll let him put his earpiece in so he understands the question. But just to say, we heard quite a few examples on greening.
네, 그리닝 에듀케이션 그 평생 학습과 관련돼서 말씀을 해주셨는데요. 이에 대해서 분명히
Last 2 days here in Korea discussing this particular topic, as well as the bridge with health education. So maybe you mentioned there's a lot of training underway via different organizations inside the lifelong learning centers in Gwangmyeong City on the topic of education for sustainable development and carbon neutrality. Perhaps you could give us a little bit of examples of what those programs look like. What do they consist of? How many people are enrolled with them, and what are some of the impact and outcomes of the programs on ESD and carbon neutrality in Gwangmyeong City? That's the first question for the mayor of Gwangmyeong. Thank you.
So carbon neutral, with regard to carbon neutrality program, we do really a variety of things, eco-diversity and inclusive regarding the environment and circular resources and the waste issue and climate crisis. So in a comprehensive way, we deal with all of these things. And new regenerable energy sources. So what kind of strategies we have to build and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions? This kind of education training is provided to the attendees. So students, as well as the organizations and institutions, all of the institutions, public and private institutions, they are subject to this program. And as a result, every event, they do not use the disposable item. When we hold the festival, we do not use the disposable item. We use the mug cup, and we borrow these things, and we use them during the festival and give back to those people. And we do, when we hold the events with the residents, rather than banners, we reuse, and this kind of activity is practiced. For example, 10-10-10 activity is put in place. Every 10th of every month, we turn off the light. In every house turn off the light 10 p.m. on the 10th of every month. If the highest number of residents in the apartment complex, we try to give incentives to those apartment complex. And our city also runs the carbon point incentives. So 11 carbon reduction items are characterized. And if those who practice this kind of activity, we provide the incentives, the points to those people. And so maximum we provide them the 100,000 Korean won in local currency. more than 10,000 people won these incentives. And just I name a few. Every institution, organization, and every individual, they are subject to these programs, and really many citizens aggressively participate in this program. And public institutions, so also we train the energy consultants. So in welfare centers, so those in welfare centers, they can run the carbon neutrality programs. They can apply it to their centers. Today, so one principal of elementary school said, his school held a festival. At the festival, every item is related to carbon neutrality, and it is all reusable item. So we need some encouragement for this kind of activity. And schools, students have, so the city hall had to promote it to students and schools more and more. So also the heads of towns and villages, they say they need the carbon neutrality training. So also we train them.
Thank you very much for your wonderful remarks. I believe that this will be fully answered to the question. So in this Gwangmyeon City, for ESD SDG, various programs including 10-10-10 and also carbon-free movements. So these leading projects were recognized. So there has been, Gwangmyeon City has been the designated a city for ESD by UNESCO. I believe that his explanation fully explained all this, and also various autonomous citizen-led standard. The community movements are available, and their projects and programs are available. That's all driven by, or activated by the citizens, so they were able to promote the carbon neutrality and carbon-free programs. So we have head of the education office, Lee Sang-gi from Seeing City. He's going to make a comments on the presentations we had previously. So lifelong learning cities, most of the residents in those cities, and they are doing something to promote the lifelong learning programs for the residents in the city. I am also in charge of education for the primary, middle, and high school students in our district. But as you all know, low birth rate, due to that there is the population crisis. That's why every single child is very precious. Education is not going to be limited in the school venue. We need to expand in order to make the lifelong education happen. So every citizen, every resident is doing its effort to nurture this precious child to become a all-around and wonderful citizen. So I believe that our city is very famous for in terms of educational collaboration between the education office and also city government along with the private sector. So all those autonomous governments have their own the education office. Our local leader, township, are working together for the better education. And also superintendents and principals of each kindergarten schools are also collaborating together. And also there is a residents autonomous council. Their members, as well as teachers in the village, are working together to enhance our school status. Current education status will be shared, and also creating a physical and material support. And also we strengthen the network between these people, so safety for children will be enhanced. Things that we are not able to do in the school venue can take place in the community base. After we do certain activities annually, So every December, the students and villagers host a festival to promote lifelong education. Every district, every township. So Xi'an, educational city, lifelong learning city, have been promoted by these people. So I'd like to extend my thanks to all those stakeholders, including the mayor of Inbyeongtaek. Thank you very much for your wonderful efforts. As a person in education, I believe that our children will, when they design the future and they live in the future, in order to make that happen, all the villagers should pay attention to them. And not just in the curriculum in the school, but also the ecosystem that is made by the villagers will provide a lifelong education with their strong passion and dedication. Through this discussion, I believe that as a person in education, I believe that it is, for me, it's an honor to participate in this discussion for the lifelong education. I hope that this forum can further advance so that we can see the education and also science will further develop across the world. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. So from the perspective of the community and Seeing City is a really learning city, has a really promising city. And as for SDG, so also it hosted the citizen guerrilla for lifelong learning. So because of time constraints, 25 minutes is given to us. So just 1 minute. So moderator will give a remark and some questions. So there is a kind of a time constraint. There are really many people who can answer those questions. So when it comes to sustainable development, please give us the remarks. So Mayors Kwang Myung and Asan really gave a great presentation related to lifelong learning, solidarity around the world. I really want to say thank you. ESD certified 3 programs we have. Though among them, I'd like to mention just one. Citizens who want to learn make circles. So lifelong learning circles. So around 360 communities are engaged in this kind of lifelong learning. So lifelong learning circles are used for them to learn more and more. So these lifelong learning circles can set a great example for other countries around the world. Thank you. Moderator Mari had for every city, to make healthier world, that kind of project. So how do you do when it comes to making the healthier world? I would like to ask the question to Mayor Asan. How do you support the local communities?
So please go ahead with your answer. So regarding the health, there is heightened interest, and Asan City is also declaring the health city and also promoting that one. So we are also searching for the connection point between the health and the lifelong learning. So by township and neighborhood, we really want to set up the lifelong center. That is because of this one connection. So we have elderly citizens, those 65 years old or above. The programs they need is related to the health promotion, health enhancement. So the city or the colleges, they are on the lifelong program. But if we set up those programs in then, it will be conflicting with the young people. So elderly citizens were not able to catch up with the speed of the learning of the young people and cannot feel the benefits of this kind of program. So we can have a separate program. So, for example, the elderly can learn line dance and yoga, and also the cooking program that cook the healthy food, and also crafting for the natural soap, and also program for the health, for example, healing the spirit and chi energy, and those kind of practical program can be run in the life learning center for each township. So we don't have many programs that is dedicated to the health for all, like the issues that for the global communities. So we are very much, we have programs closer to the day-to-day lives. But we need to expand our programs into the covering the nation's issue as well as issues worldwide. I feel really sorry that we don't have much time. We have 169 lifelong learning cities, and also if we the accommodate UNESCO, in the case more 60 will be included. So health learning dedicated and specialized models and programs are all available. So if we mention all this, we need to explain all this. In that case, we need 169 minutes, but 5 minutes left. Many people prepared about introduction of those, but unfortunately, we were not able to listen them all. So let me hear from the district Dongdaemun-gu.
그래서 굉장히
So I'm really honored to be here. First of all, so the Gangmyeon mayor gave a presentation when it comes to the program with the disabilities. I'm really impressed by it. And for the first time, Gwangmyeong held the festival. And Asan City, so there is a county and a community center. I'm really impressed by it. Dongdaemun-gu really has worked hard to. We also are the member of the Lifelong Learning Association, and we are moving forward the lifelong learning city as well as a global city. And the first time in Seoul, we built a carbon neutrality center in August. And when it comes to the environment, we are living in the era of a climate crisis. So we need to change the awareness, recognition. So according to it, we have to run that kind of policy. So through this forum, we can share ideas and good insights. Thank you. Thank you. The topic of the first session is making the healthier city. So health is a very important issue. So please focus on the topic. Thank you. And barrier-free, and we have to remove the barriers so every person can be accessible. So Eun-pyeon-gu, the cooperative director, is here with us. So Sejong City representative, could you give a remark related to health? Or what kind of a specialty do you have? Please give us a 1-minute remark. Sejong City General, where are you? Do you want to skip the remark? So in the second session, we can have a really lively discussion. So I'm Song Ki-sun of Sejong City. As you are well aware, the Sejong is the administrative capital of Korea. So we inherited the soul of spirit of King Sejong. Our city since the launch of our city, when it comes to the certificate of lifelong learning, so we had a program related to 집현전, and especially the Hangul, the Korean alphabet, culture. We are working really hard to build that kind of culture. Last year, the UNESCO International Lifelong Learning Association we joined last year, and as a global city, we will do our best. Thank you. Sejong City in 2022 GNLC new member, and it is really actively be engaged in. 네,
The general specialized program of the learning city, that's the reason our answer and the question is just focused on the learning cities, another policy. So in the second part, we will discuss about the health learning city, focused on the health issues. So please, thank you. And I would like to invite the Didier Jourdan as the chair of the UNESCO. So could you please say something about the first session of the Korean learning cities, please?
I just would like to say a few words, and first of all, I'm impressed by the fact that all these policies are clearly comprehensive and influences many and most, I think, of the determinants of successful lifelong learning. And in fact, I have a question. I would like to tell you that at a global level, one of the most important issues is to find achievements, to find a project, activities, policies that shows an influence, a positive influence on inequalities. Because this is something we all share. When we work in the field of lifelong learning, the key question is how to reach the most vulnerable part of the population. And probably what could help us from this incredible experience of the Korean Association and all these cities is probably for us at a global level to learn more about your achievements in the field of the reduction of inequalities to access to lifelong learning. You talked about that in terms of solidarity, in terms of working with old people, and I would like to say that we would be very keen to learn more about what you're doing and what works to reduce inequalities in lifelong learning. So perhaps a few ideas, and I would like to tell you that the UNESCO chair and a lot of research bodies would be extremely interesting to learn more about what you're doing.
Thank you so much. 우리가 유네스코가 inclusive.
So UNESCO is an inclusive cluster. There is 5 inclusive clusters. Among them, there is an inclusive cluster, so especially Gwangmyeong City, as well as other cities. So you are the Gwangmyeong mayor and the chairman of KAIIC. So what kind of detailed actions are needed for it? So he is really look forward to hear that kind of activity for the vulnerable and for the excluded, digital excluded people. So what kind of action are you doing? So he want to hear about it. So what kind of impact do those programs have? For example, the Goyang City developed the indicator to monitor. So it is following the global trend. So the KAIIC, he want to hear about it from KAIIC. So the disabled and illiterate people and the digital exclusive people, so inequality. 그런 디지털에 배척된 사람들 그리고
Literate and what kind of
You know, research shows that the social status has a huge impact, of course, on literacy in general, especially digital literacy. And we talk about the digital gap, which is one of the main issues. The second big issue is linked to the age. The older the people are, the farthest they are from the access to learning services. And you have to know that research also showed that developing the literacy of people older than 65 influences the access to healthcare service, influences of also their health and lifestyles. So this is all that kind of inequalities. Disabled people, old people, people with in trouble with literacy and especially digital literacy.
GNS의 5개 그룹 중에
There are fourth group. The inclusive group is they are seeking the inclusive society. The first issue is in unemployed people. So the second problem is the disabled, and the third problem is the elderly. So there is really a big gap with the elderly. So what kind of action do you take to reduce the gap for the elderly? And what kind of action do you take for the digitally excluded people? So please focus on digitally excluded people and the elderly. So with the Gwangmyeong City example, so there is a digital innovation center. We are running digital innovative center. So we provide digital education for the elderly because they are digitally illiterate people. So we teach them how to use kiosk and how to use the digital devices. So in the lifelong learning center, the kind of training is taking place. And also this service is provided to silver towns. And the Digital Innovation Center is newly built by Gwangmyeong City, and we are running it. And there is a separate, we are preparing for the separate room for this program. They can experience it and they can learn in this space. So for the digital illiterate people, we are running that kind of program. Second of all, for the disabled people, as I mentioned earlier, we have the Center for the Disabled. What we do is, so the disabled teach other disabled people. And the one-on-one matching, so we provide a home visit service because they are physically limited. So we visit their home to teach them. The Ministry of Education says, so it is important, so they allocated the budget for it to boost the education for the disabled. Third of all, the inclusive education. We continuously find the blind spot for the vulnerable individual. Personally, I believe the inclusive education is the how to respond to climate crisis. Everyone can be subject to this training, so we provide the thorough program. So the Mayor Bang Soo-han made a presentation regarding this for the disabled and digitally excluded people. So also we have outreach programs for the people, for all people.
cities is the declared we are the learning city for disabled and handicapped. It's very popular, the disabled learning city also. So we will continue our discussion in the second session. So moderating by the Marie Macaulay. Yeah.
한 가지 예를 들면
I'd like to give you one more example. I have a Facebook friend. He uploaded the article. From the airport to the bus station to the Anyang city, he have to get a digital ticket. The elderly people ask for help. So he helped him to issue a ticket for the elderly person. And another older couple asked for the help to him. So my friend helped those elderly people. After that, he missed it. So he missed his bus. So he took another transportation. So I read that kind of article. So how the problem is very severe. So local communities and local governments contemplate it, and we will work hard to solve this problem. So I would like to hear from all of you, and I want to give you 1 minute opportunity. However, because of time constraints, I feel really sorry. For session 2, we can continue our discussion. As you mentioned, not just Gwangmyeong City and other lifelong learning cities, they are all making efforts. Digital innovative centers and outreach programs
handicapped people take care disabled themselves. It's very famous impact project in Korea. 그래서 아무튼 여기 정도까지 하면서 아까 여러 번
So, Eunpyeonggu, I tried to give. So I was supposed to give an opportunity for the remarks. Please give us the remarks. The Eunpyeong director, please give us the remark.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Il-young from the Eunpyeonggu district. So thank you very much for attending this forum. So we are running very productive forum. So let me introduce our projects. This June, we also ran a Sustainable Development International Forum. So how the Eunpyeonggu district define the learning city, that the environmental friendliness, and also we have 3 major programs that we are running for education. So our head of this education office should attend, but due to this project, he was not able to do that. So they had an event to declare the carbon neutrality. That's also led by the residents. And also those kind of things will be implemented, centered on the alleys, back alleys of the neighborhood. So in order to spread carbon neutrality activities, we are running the website to promote carbon neutrality activities for students. So we have various environment education by topic, also by learning place, and also we support the vulnerable class. So we create the team to support the single person household. So Korea, we have an increasing number of the single household in our district. 40% of the population are the single person household. How they can become very independent on their own. So we have a Unpiso, the terminology. This is the solo person who is very shining, living in the Eunpyeonggu district. And this year, for the first time this year, our district is designated a life learning city for the disabled. So we are going to run various programs for that. Though we are running out of time, I'm going to turn to Mr. Alex. He is in charge for this. So let me hear his opinion, closing comments from him.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all of the inspiring insights that we've just witnessed. And I was just reflecting over the course of the session, looking as well at the list of members of the Korean Association of Lifelong Learning Cities, and thinking about how through all of those thematic activities over the past few years on inclusion, ESD, health, planning, monitoring and evaluation, we've worked with so many members of the association. So I would just maybe make the comment that the efforts of the association and of all of the cities here today are really driving a lot of the thematic work that we do. And we'll hear more about the theme of health just after the break, which is very close to our hearts. Thank you.
고맙습니다. 요즘 UIL은 헬스 그리고
These days, UIL is focusing on health, sustainable development, and global citizen education. Those are the three things that UIL focused on. So in the second part, we are going to focus on the health learning city. So we're going to have a vibrant discussion on that topic. We have a greater expectation. Now we are going to closing our the first part, and then we're going to resume the second part later. Please give her a round of applause for her wonderful moderation. So next session is going to start at 5:15. Before then, please look at this yellow picket, and then we're going to have a group photo. So please raise the yellow paper on your desk. So we're going to take a photo with this. In the second part of this forum, all the UNESCO staff members are going to join through online. So please stay with us until the end. Please make a big smile, Mayor. From Asan and Gwangmyeong, please make a big smile. Thank you very much. Stay with us until the end. Thank you.
자, 우리는
So now say kimchi to make a big smile. So why don't you put this higher? So make a big smile, Alex. You have a good and wonderful smile. Thank you very much. So now we conclude Mayor's Summit Forum. Please stay with us for the second part of this forum. Let's meet again at 5:15. Let's meet in 15 minutes later.
네, 자리를
So we will start second session shortly. So UNESCO GNLC members are logging in online, so please be seated. So in earnest, let us start session 2. This is a UNESCO session. So session 2 is the 5th UNESCO Learning City International Forum. So there will be presentations related to it. UNESCO UIL will make a presentation the launching event for the practice of lifelong learning. And the 5th Lifelong Learning International Forum was held. So in connection with it, what kind of things do citizens have to practice? We will discuss it in detail. And distinguished guests will soon join us. So Europe time is 9 a.m. in Korean time, so they are in very early morning. So I'd like to say thank you to those who log on online. So I'd like to introduce the distinguished guests. So there are the distinguished guests I'd like to introduce. When I call your name one by one, please welcome them with a big round of applause. The co-host of this forum, Mayor Bang Seung-won, he is here with us. Please give him a really big round of applause once again. Next, UNESCO, the chair, Didier Jourdan, is here with us. And next, the Mary McLean is here with us. Please give her a big round of applause. Next, The Goyang City representative is here with us, specialist. And there's a representative. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. And Anyang Education City also here is with us. And Lifelong Learning City, Yeonsu, also here is with us. Next is the specialist group, Chae Eun-sil. The Professor Chae Eun-sil is here with us. Next, the Presidential Integration Commission Commissioner is here with us. And EBS Center Director is here with us. And the journalist Park Sun-jin of Gyeongyang Daily is here with us. And please give him a big round of applause because I would like to introduce the speakers from overseas. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. And Colombia, Bogota, the presentation, Sarah Valencia will give this presentation. Last, the Alexin Haim will be here with us. Yes, and we will try to connect with the Hamburg, Germany. So are you ready? So please show us the screen. Raul, are you ready? Please give him a big round of applause. Raul, yes, so we will see him shortly. And there are many members from GNLC. I'd like to introduce them in the middle. And many members from the Lifelong Learning Association. I welcome all of you. So we will have an opening speech by Mayor Park Seung-won. So we will start the session 2. Please give him a big round of applause.
Again, let me introduce myself and let me greet you. My name is Park Seung-won. I'm the mayor of Gwangmyeong City. It's really nice to meet you. In the first part of this forum, I'm already greeting you, so I'm going to make it brief. So, the head of the UIL, Mr. Lau, made a proposal to have this kind of conference to our community. So, 2 years ago, there is a Yeonsu International Conference. So we can create the city that can make a greater leap toward the global stage. We also made a promise and declaration at the time. 2 years later, on today, we can make a reflection how the kind of commitment promise was made. So we are going to closely look at the situation and global status of the life learning, and we can learn from this conference, and then also we can go ahead for the better future direction. So a year ago, we underwent a crisis such as COVID-19. So with that, we can renew and reborn ourselves, and we make a promise to ourselves that we can do better. But 2 years later, how much has been made progressive? I mean, getting better. We can check. We can restock our commitment, and based on that, we can create a better the city for health. So this is a good time for us to make a resolution and also make a determination to become better. I'd like to extend my appreciation to all those participants on and offline. And also, once again, we'd like to extend our welcome. I hope this will be a very meaningful occasion. Thank you very much.
너무 감사합니다.
So thank you for your speech. And now the UIL Mary McCauley, who is the co-host of this event, will give a welcoming speech. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. 네, 안녕하십니까, 여러분. 정말 영광입니다. 여러분과 함께
group and gathering at this Learning City Health or Healthy Learning City Forum as part of the general event hosted by the Korean Association of Lifelong Learning Cities. I greatly appreciate and commend the unwavering dedication and commitment to everyone who is present today, especially our esteemed mayors who have joined us in the first part as well as in the second part from all cities around Korea, starting with Mayor Seongwon Park from Gwangmyeong, Mayor of Sihung, who was here earlier, Asan, Donggain-moon, Sihung, Goyang representatives Yongsu, who we've all met before, and other mayors and cities here present from KAIIC, who are enriching this gathering with their presence and insights today. In today's very rapidly evolving global landscape, the emphasis on lifelong learning is more crucial than ever, and cities can really serve as the heartbeat of some of the transformations that can take place in countries around the world. And so by championing lifelong learning at the city level, we have a big role in laying the foundation for a future that is brighter, more inclusive, and more innovative. And so just 2 years ago, we were still grappling with the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic. And yet, we managed to unite in the city of Yongsu, setting a clear direction for the future of lifelong learning for health globally around the world in the Yongsu Declaration adopted at the International Conference on Learning Cities. And so I extend my heartfelt gratitude as well to those who played pivotal roles in organizing and conceptualizing the lifelong learning for health in cities, which is the continuation of this Yongsu Declaration for Learning Cities. So special mentions to our speakers who are here today, Sarah Valencia from Bogota, representing Bogota, Esther Wangi from Nairobi, Didier Jourdan, of course, from the UNESCO Chair for Global Health, and all of the UIL team behind the efforts, including Mr. Alex Howell. So the launch is more than an event. It's quite, it's a testament to our shared commitment to knowledge, well-being, and prosperity. And I'm quite confident that the insights that will be shared today will open new avenues of possibilities for cities globally. And so in conclusion, thank you and congratulations to everyone who has contributed to the success of the forum, as well as to the launch of the guide that we will hear in more detail today. I trust that our discussions will resonate and catalyze positive changes in the years to come. Thank you.
네. 다시 한번
Thank you very much. So please give her a round of applause for her wonderful remarks. Now we're going to have a congratulatory remarks. So we have a representative from the UNESCO headquarters. So Mr. Didier Jourdan from the UNESCO Global Health. So please welcome him with a round of applause. I'm going to invite him on the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear mayors, elected representatives, professionals, citizens committed to lifelong learning for all, I'm very happy to be here today for the launch of the guide we made. You remember 2 years ago, many of us were in Yeonsu for the 5th ICLC conference, right in the middle of the COVID crisis. And of course, it had a huge impact at the global level on the fact that people realize that you cannot create the condition for health without the people. That clearly the people are not the problem, but part of the solutions. That health is not only a question of medicine, it is a question of a citizenship. And that there won't be any resilience to health crisis in the future without educating the population. Everybody realized, and this is what's in the Yeonsu Declaration. Yeonsu Declaration opened a new area. It said that to create health, we need healthy environments, we need access to service, and we need to educate the population to promote health literacy. And in the objective of supporting the cities in building lifelong learning for health policies, UNESCO UIL took the initiative to write a guide, and the UNESCO chair,
and WHO Collaborating Center Global Health and Education was invited to share its expertise. And it was a great honor for all of us, all the researchers involved in this project, to contribute to the advancement of this guide, which fits with the missions of a UNESCO chair and a WHO Collaborating Center. Research, innovation, knowledge transfer in order to contribute to social change. We all know that if we want to succeed in the writing of such a guide, we need to articulate different kind of knowledge. Your knowledge, the knowledge of the learning cities, the knowledge of the people, the knowledge of the mayors, and also research. And this is what we did in a collaborative process. I'm very happy and proud to be back in Korea to launch the guide for lifelong learning for health policies.
네, 감사합니다. 다시 한번 감사의 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you for your remarks. From now on, we will start the session 2 in earnest. The first speaker will talk about the 5th UNESCO Learning City International Conference holding and declaration of Yeonsu. So, Superintendent of Yeonsu Education Office will give a presentation. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Good afternoon. I'm the lifelong learning expert Kim Young-soo of Ansan City. So, I'm really honored to be here with you. So currently, this is the current second session. We will talk about the health guideline. This is in 2021. Is related to the ICS. This is the Yeonsu Declaration. Is the foundation of it. So Yeonsu-gu is the background of the conference and the context. I'd like to talk about it. In 2020, we were stricken by unforeseen global disaster, which is COVID-19. So it's like a earthquake and storms. It is unlike storms and earthquake. It was really here with us for long. And more than 700 million people were infected, and 6.96 million were dead because of it. And many industries were collapsing, and really economic toll was huge. And when it comes to education, 90% of schools in 190 countries, face-to-face education suspended, and they closed down. And the wealth and education and social issues were really severe. However, the society started to respond to COVID-19. So vaccine was developed, and also the death toll and the number of the infected people was on the decrease, and the new industries emerged. And when it comes to education, so face-to-face rather than face-to-face, we have remote education. And with this kind of new approach, the citizenship is kind of raised, and lifelong learning was also raised. To adapt to the new normal, there are new technologies developed, and social distancing and mask wearing and citizenship was really raised. So to adapt to this new situation, the lifelong learning is very important. So beyond the response to a new leap forward, people are talking about it. So, against this background, the 5th UNESCO Learning City International Conference was held. This international conference is hosted every 2 years. So to summarize this conference, Beijing Declaration, so we really realized the need of a global network of education and how to build a continuous education. That kind of discussion was held. And KAIIC Action Declaration, so what kind of practices we need, we talked about it. And the global learning, so we could have the kind of discussion. The 5th, we were the city to host this the international forum. It was held in the middle of the pandemic. So with the keywords, how to build a lifelong learning and what is the direction, we had a deep discussion about it. So 8 sections in total for the 5th International Forum. So the 3 topics were dealt. So health, mental health, and understanding of well-being, and the learning strengthening and health and well-being. It had to turn into well-being and health centers. That kind of topics were dealt. The key of this conference to build up the city, what kind of lifelong learning city have to play a role. In 2021, we still were not away from the pandemic. We still suffer from it. 490 cities. So we use the hybrid methods, online and offline. And the 5th International Forum, we kind of announced the Yeonsu Declaration. It has 28 articles. So through the lifelong learning, how to build the healthy cities, what kind of direction we have to take. The Yeonsu Declaration proposed it and urged for us to act. From 1 to 6 articles. So when our health is threatened, this is the declaration background. From Article 7 to 20, our commitment. And Article 21 to 28, the way forward. The key is the second part, from Article 7 to 20. There are 10 articles. So what kind of actions we have to pursue, what kind of policy we have to take. There are 4 articles for policy implementation and 10 articles for policy development. So there are 10 articles and 4 articles, and it is not mentioned in the Yeonsu Declaration. However, Yeonsu Declaration guideline proposed it. So it has 2 parts. So resilient cities and healthy cities, what kind of commitment we made? I studied it. First of all, there are the lifelong learning dedicated organization based on Yeonsu Declaration. So we raised the citizenship and we included the topics related to health. And for kind of sharing, we trained experts and we also raised the awareness of citizenship. And it is broaden the scope of literacy education to include functional literacy and increase lifelong learning opportunity for marginalized groups. So rather than lifelong learning dedicated organization, lifelong learning non-dedication organization has addressed health programs, health education for infants and parents, and physical education for citizen health, and rehabilitation education for independent living of people with disabilities, and global citizenship education for youth. So not lifelong learning dedicated organization, but lifelong learning non-education organization run these programs. After the declaration of Yeonsu, many projects have been conducted. So it is hard to say this is the result of the Yeonsu Declaration. Of course, we applied the Yeonsu Declaration to it. However, lifelong learning non-dedicated organization is separately conducted. It has long been conducted. So when it comes to implement the declaration, we felt the need for a guide to implement the declaration of Yeonsu. To do it, we need detailed policies and methods because we have to understand the different cultures and contexts of other countries. In Korea, many of the parts are already conducted. However, we need a new approach for other countries. And for detailed cases and data, we need it. However, it lacks a lack of concrete examples and outcome data related to the implementation of the declaration. And there was a lack of a monitoring system and evaluating system for the current state of implementation. That's why we need a need for a guide. So the guide launching is a real welcome. So we need a resiliency. So a resilient society. So we faced with the COVID-19 and we really overcame it. And we talked about resiliency frequently. A resilient society comes from resilient cities, and resilient cities come from lifelong learning. So on this note, I'd like to wrap up my presentation. And Yeonsu-gun, we will practice Yeonsu Declaration to make a healthy city. Thank you.
So Kim Young-jin, experts from the Incheon Yeonsu district, provide a presentation. So now we're going to talk about UNESCO, GNLC, and lifelong learning for health. What is the cluster cooperation? Also, this era of the climate crisis. So Alexa Howard from the UNESCO is going to make a presentation. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you. 안녕하세요. Greetings from the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. I am going to speak briefly just to situate everything that we're discussing right now in this session within some of the broader work that we have done through the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. Because even though the issue of lifelong learning for health has become such a profound priority, particularly since the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been working on the topic of health and well-being for a number of years now. First of all, I'm not sure that I need to explain this to the audience here today. I'm sure you are all very familiar with the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, but just to briefly mention that we are an international network focusing on policy, providing inspiration, fostering knowledge exchange between member cities in all parts of the world. We really focus on peer learning, capacity building, and forging partnerships. And most of our work centers on two of the Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved by 2030, SDG 4 on education, and SDG 11 on sustainable cities and communities. But I'm proud to say that with the work that we're currently doing and launching today, we have also taken great strides towards supporting SDG 3 on health. Now, these themes have been mentioned, I think, a few times already in the previous session. Over the past few years at the GNLC, we have been focusing on 5 main thematic priorities, which are displayed here. Global citizenship education, education for sustainable development, inclusion, planning, including processes for the monitoring and evaluation of lifelong learning in cities, and of course, health and well-being. So recapping last year and this year, I would say that the majority of our activities, of course, we've touched on all of these themes, but we've had a very strong focus on health and well-being. And moving into next year, 2024, we are approaching, we heard just now about the 5th International Conference on Learning Cities, which was a hugely important and successful event in Yeonsu. And next year, we move to the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities, which will address the topic of learning cities being at the forefront of climate action. So in terms of health and well-being, the work that we have been doing through the network predates the COVID-19 pandemic. So even prior to the pandemic, we had established a thematic cluster on health and well-being, coordinated by a city you will hear from shortly, the city of Cork in Ireland, as well as the city of Osan in the Republic of Korea, a member of KAIIC. And they were organizing a number of activities, some exchanges, meetings, so forth and so on. And then, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic arrived, and suddenly these activities gained a new sense of urgency. So in 2020, the cities of Cork and Osan came together to organize a global webinar on strengthening resilience in learning cities. And this really prepared the ground for the 5th ICLC in 2021. So already we saw in 2019, 2020, gathering momentum. During the pandemic, we spent a lot of time gathering case studies from members of the network on how they were responding to the pandemic. And there was fascinating insights, all contained within this publication, snapshots of learning cities' responses to COVID-19. We collated a great number of examples. A collection of them are available, as I mentioned in the publication. 3 are displayed here, simply because they're quite varied. We have one from the city of Milan, where they were focusing on ensuring there was easy access to health services within 15 minutes of leaving the home. In the city of Espoo, Finland, there was a major focus on providing digital devices and fostering the development of digital skills in response to the pandemic, particularly for vulnerable families. And in Sao Paulo, Brazil, there was a huge drive to implement a school meals program so that those children who were remaining at home because of the pandemic, who were from very disadvantaged households and backgrounds, they were still receiving those free school meals that they needed to continue to maintain healthy lives. And I show these 3 because I think that they demonstrate, and this is something that became very, very apparent to us at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, just how much power cities have to drive these initiatives for health education. And I think it's something that maybe a few years ago would not have been so obvious. Of course, things were happening, but during the pandemic, a spotlight really was shone onto the independence that cities have. You know, there's a lot that they do that in coordination with the Ministry of Education or the national authorities, but there is a huge amount that they can do independently. So we then arrive in Yeonsu in 2021 for an excellent conference, as mentioned, right in the middle of the pandemic, which was hugely challenging. But being in the middle of the pandemic, it was so timely. And we talked about moving from emergency to resilience, building healthy and resilient cities. There were so many exchanges, and of course the outcome, as we heard earlier, was the adoption of the Yeonsu Declaration for Learning Cities. So I'm not going to go into the contents of the declaration we've heard a bit about earlier, and Mr. Didier Jourdan will go into in relation to the guide. But we did, over the course of last year, move from the 5th ICLC into a series of webinars. So last year we organized 3 webinars on lifelong learning for health, looking at different articles contained within the Yonsu Declaration. And we heard from the cities gathered here today. We heard from Bogota, Nairobi, Cork, among others, about some of the really inspiring initiatives that they are doing to promote lifelong learning for health. So this is just a sense of the journey of how we came from the 5th ICLC through last year with this webinar series towards the launch of the guide today. And there were many benefits to this whole process, which I would say this process culminates with the launch of the guide today, but it doesn't finish here. But over the course of the past few years, we've been able to build up an action plan on a health learning pathway for all. We've been able to respond to very, very pronounced needs expressed by members of the network, showcase the Learning City development process, and we continue to move towards, as I mentioned, the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities, where we will be able to share some of the developments of producing and implementing lifelong learning for health policies. And so I think with the guide, and you'll hear, as I mentioned, you will hear in detail about the guide, we have 3 potential follow-up activities, just framed very broadly. We want to move forward and work with cities in using the guide. Okay, so we don't just want to publish the guide, leave it out there online, and move on. We want to actually launch a series of activities with cities themselves to help them to use it and to make it a really useful interactive resource. So we're planning to develop some videos, some training materials, some capacity building workshops based on the guide. Importantly, and I think the event here today is very pertinent for the second point here in relating lifelong learning for health to education for sustainable development. And I think that this is going to be the major discussion over the next 6 months, year, leading towards the next international conference, focusing on some of the environmental determinants of health and how, in fact, those 2 topics are incredibly relevant to one another and interrelated. And this takes us through to 2024, and as I've already mentioned, the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities. So I'll stop there because we have many inspiring initiatives to hear about from some of the cities I mentioned, but I just wanted to frame for you the broader journey in lifelong learning for health that we are making through the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 네, 유네스코 알렉스 하이스.
So UNESCO Alex Harris gave a presentation. Thank you. And UNESCO Gen LC case studies we will hear. So in real time from Vietnam, from Egypt, and from Australia, real distinguished guests will join this event. So first case, the Kenyan Libraries Esther Wangi Kimini will give a presentation. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Good afternoon. All protocols observed. My name is Esther Kimani. I come from Kenya, that is in East Africa, and I work for the Nairobi City County government. Maybe I need to give a perspective of how Nairobi is governed before I enter into my presentation that I realized that I actually entered into it so abruptly. So Kenya has 2 levels of government, where we have one president, and 47 counties, meaning that each county has got a county governor who is in charge, and every county is autonomous, although the president is the one that carries the overall power of the country. So I'm going to talk about the case study of Nairobi, the best practices that we are putting in place in the pre-primary section of education with regard to lifelong learning for health. And perhaps I also need to say that Nairobi city is the capital of Kenya, and it is a paradox in itself because it is a home to the richest people in the country, and it is also a home to the poorest people in the country. So when we are talking about lifelong learning, therefore, I am talking about opportunities or initiatives that give opportunities to all children to access an education, to be retained in an education system, and to be transitioned from one level of education to the other through health practices. So therefore, we are looking at lifelong learning and education as a whole as a social equalizer. So going to my presentation, some of the initiatives that we have put in place. Since 2018, the county government of Nairobi has scrapped or removed all the levies, school fees levies, that are in the pre-primary section, and it came up with a free early childhood development and education grant. We call it a capitation grant, where each child is allocated 3,200 Kenya shillings per year. This translates to about 28,900 Korean won. And any child with disabilities or special needs is allocated 100 Kenya shillings extra. So that means that they are allocated about 29,800 Korean won. So this money, therefore, helps the child who is enrolled in a public kindergarten, we call them pre-primary schools in Kenya, to get the teachers, get didactic materials, textbooks and supplementary readers, exercise books, teachers' guides. If there are support staff who help in the cleaning, cooking, then their wages are also drawn from there. And minor renovations and rehabilitation of the education institutions. Then co-curricular events, that is drama, music festival, games. Such monies are also drawn from that kitty. Environment and sanitation. Then we have 10 o'clock snack and local transport and traveling. So with this money, every learner, regardless of whether they come from a poor background or rich background, they are equalized, and they all have an opportunity to access education from the public ECD centers. You can see this year, on July 5th, this is our county governor. How do I point with this? Yes, this gentleman here is the county governor for the Nairobi City County Education, and this is my boss. He's called Ahmed Mohamed Abdi. My governor is called Arthur Johnson Sakaja, and this is my director, Ruth Owor. They are disbursing the free ECD funds. You can see there it is free ECD funds. It's 100 million Kenya shillings for this year. But every year, this amount changes because it depends with the enrollment. And because of these free ECD funds, every year we are seeing an increment in the enrollment. So that is why we are saying that this money it increases every year. Then another initiative is that we are not working alone as an education sector. We have taken an approach of multi-sectoral whereby we are working with the health department to ensure that growth monitoring and promotion services to the pre-primary learners are well accorded to all of them. So we have a school health department within the public health sector, and they work together with the education sector to ensure that learners are provided with micronutrient supplementation, and also nutrition education. And this is not just for the learners, it is also for the parents and the teachers, so that they can continue to emphasize that on the learners. Then we have management of all kinds of malnutrition, because I told you that there are very poor backgrounds, especially in the informal settlements of the Nairobi city, and some children are malnourished. Then we have cases of overweight and obesity children. They're also managed by our public health department in the schools, and deworming services, dental services, and also care programs for children with developmental difficulties and disabilities. As you can see, these are some photos that are showing, this is a health practitioner who is actually giving vitamin A to ECD learners, or to pre-primary learners, in one of our ECD centers called Milimani. And this is another one who is deworming the children in one of our pre-primary centers called Lady Northi. Another initiative is that we have in existence a school health policy of 2018 that actually provides a step-by-step issues of how health initiatives, nutrition initiatives, lifelong learning initiatives are to be accorded in schools, and then we have disseminated this in all sub-counties. That is the second level of governance in a county. And we are also training health staff and education staffs on how to support learners. During the 2019 COVID time, we also came up with several initiatives, and we had sensitization forums for both teachers and learners on how to prevent themselves, both at school and at home. And we distributed informational materials with regard to COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. We are strengthening pre-primary school health clubs, and we are training pre-primary school boards of management on positive parenting and issues of lifelong learning beyond the school and into the communities. Those are some photographs that are showing some of these training sessions with our collaborative partners, because most of the times we work with international and also national development partners. Another initiative is that our governor has come up with an initiative that is new to the country, where we are calling it Dishi na County. Dishi is a Sheng word. Sheng is a slang language in Nairobi, and it means feed with the county, Dishi na County. So we have constructed 10 central kitchens. These 10 central kitchens are distributed across the sub-counties of Nairobi, and they are meant to feed all the children in all the public ECD and primary schools. And we have actually started. I'll show you some photos of the same. We are hoping, we have rolled out 3 of the kitchens are complete by right now as we talk, and the other 7, actually 7 are complete. 3 we are hoping they'll be complete by January, so that now it is the program is rolled out 100%. And in addition to that, we have our children enjoy a 10 o'clock meal, a porridge that is fortified, and also they have a milk program. So those are some of the kitchens that we are constructing, and we have already constructed. This is a kitchen that has been constructed in Babadogo Primary School for school feeding. You see, we are calling it Dishi na County. This is Nairobi City County logo. And this is how the inside of the kitchens look like. They are very hygienic to ensure that our children are feeding healthy meals. And you can see these are some of the primary school children feeding from that kitchen of Babadogo, and they are actually very happy. You can tell from their uniforms and from how they're dressed that they are not from very, rich backgrounds. So it is a program that has been welcomed by everyone. And actually other counties in the country are already copying what Nairobi is doing. These are some of the photos displaying the milk that we are distributing to the pre-primary learners. And you can see a sample of our learners enjoying a meal and some milk on the side. We are also collaborating with the water and sanitation sector or department to ensure that we provide clean water to all the institutions of learning. And we have also collaborated with them to construct sanitation facilities and toilets to ensure that they are living decent lives even in schools, as well as providing play facilities. As you can see here, these are some of the water tanks that we are distributing to all the schools, and we are ensuring that the schools are connected to a water source, and those that are not, then they can use the water tanks to harvest rainwater. Yes, that is another example. And of course, these are some of the toilet blocks that we have constructed. We have started with the teachers' blocks in the ECD centers or the nursery schools, and we are continuing. It doesn't mean that they don't have toilets, but we are building decent toilets for the same. We are continuing to expand. As I told you, because of the free ECD grants, we are expanding every day, and then enrollment is increasing. So we are also expanding in infrastructure. This year only, we have all these projects of construction of ECD centers across Nairobi. And in addition, we are adding classrooms so that we can decongest. We already have so many learners, an influx of learners coming to the ECD centers because of the initiatives that we have put in place, and so we want to decongest them. So this year alone, our governor is constructing 519 additional classrooms in order to decongest the ECD learners who are already overcrowded. And these are ECD blocks that we are adding on top of the many that we have. We are continuing to recruit teachers because we, as I've told you, increase in enrollment resulting to expansion in infrastructure, but also we need to increase or expand our staff capacity. And in the year 2021, we employed 498 qualified teachers. In 2022, we employed an additional 219, and we are almost reaching the threshold, although by the time we are reaching the threshold, again, we have an increment in enrollment. So what we do is continuous recruitment of qualified teachers to ensure that our learners are actually accessing quality education. And these learners, these teachers, we are continuing to build their capacity. We retool them often to ensure that they are actually delivering the kind of education that is recommended by the Ministry of Education and by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Then we train all our teachers to handle learners with special needs. We are an inclusive society. Some of these are examples of the trainings that we've had for our teachers since January. We train them on a wide spectrum of topics. You can see Science of ECD and Nurturing Care Framework. This one we did in collaboration with UNICEF. Inclusive education in early childhood development and education with the Action Foundation. Competency-based curriculum. This is the new curriculum that Kenya is rolling out. We are in the process of transition because we are phasing out an old curriculum. So we are retooling our teachers so that we can impart the skills of the new curriculum and they can move with the trends and the times. Then music and drama, this is co-curricular to ensure that our learners are all round. Then professional record keeping, material development, ICT integration in ECD, and also the assessment tools in primary learning, mentorship in early learning, and learning through play. Those are some of the topics. You can see there, those are some of our learners headed for music festivals. That is only 2 months ago. That is August last year. They are being flagged off to go there. And you can see when they are in action. So like I've said, we are training them to be all round so that if they will not have the white collar jobs, then they can also create jobs using even performing arts and what have you. Those are more examples of the same. And we are receiving trophies. We are actually known as a city of being winners and becoming #1. You can see this is our county governor, like I told you earlier, and this is the deputy governor. they are receiving the trophies that the learners have come home with. This is our county executive member for education, Madam Rosemary. She's receiving the trophies at the ground where the festivals are being held, and then later they take them to the governor at City Hall to ensure that actually they are representing the county. Other initiatives that we have in place is that we anchor all our programs on policies and regulations so that they are sustainable. So we ensure that we are actually adhering and implementing all the policies that we have in place. These are some of them that I was able to write down. National Pre-Primary Education Policy of 2017 and the guidelines for the same that in the following year. Then Early Childhood Education Act of 2021 and also the Nairobi City County School Health Policy of 2018, like I mentioned earlier. And right now we're in the process of developing more regulatory frameworks. As you can see, we are reviewing one of the acts of the County Assembly, and also we are in the process of developing a teacher management framework so that we can govern our teachers in a better way, because they are increasing every day as we are expanding as a county, and we would like to manage them in a better way. Lastly, we are also coming up with regulations to operationalize an act of the Assembly child care facilities so that the 0 to 3 children are not left behind. And how to make some of these initiatives visible, we are erecting signposts to show that all our education at the ECD level is free. And also we are displaying posters on healthy practices like critical times for hand washing procedures in all county pre-primary schools. And also the fact that we are participating in national co-curricula, we are advertising ourselves to ensure that we are visible, and we are inviting more and more people to come and join us in our initiatives. And also during the parents' meetings and sensitizations, we are preaching the gospel. We are monitoring these initiatives is by carrying out quality assurance and standards assessment to ensure that the good work we are putting in place does not go down the drain, and to ensure that if there are areas that we need to improve on, then we are able to do so. And also we are linking health facilities to schools for close monitoring and addressing of emergencies in school. Then we have community health volunteers who provide health interventions awareness at the community level. So it is not just at the school, we are extending this to the communities so that we ensure that this learning is not only in school, but it is also extending to the communities, and it is lifelong. Then through parental engagement and empowerment, we are ensuring that extended activities are carried out into the institutions. So as I think Didier said, that initiatives or lifelong learning is an initiative that is supposed to benefit the most vulnerable members of the society. So we are doing this initiative so that those who cannot afford an education at the pre-primary level, a level that we know that it is a formative stage for learners, and it creates, an opportunity for the brain development for the learner to achieve and to acquire more in their later learning. We are trying to do that so that we can offer an opportunity for all our ECD learners. Thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다. 네,
Thank you very much. We were able to learn the Nairobi's case in Kenya. The second will be the Bogota from Colombia, and Sara Valencia from the UCL of London, UK. She's going to make a presentation. Please welcome her with a round of applause.
자, 네.
First of all, I want to thank all of you and the people that organized the event, the association, the Korean Association of Lifelong Learning, for this invitation and for UNESCO. But also, I need to disclose here something, is that in 2020, Korea, through KAIIC, that is the international agency, gave to Bogota, Colombia, a really generous donation to actually face the pandemic. And I was honored because I was also responsible to support that process. So I'm really thankful with all of you, the Koreans, for the support that we receive in Colombia and we receive in Bogota in the public sector. And with that resource, we created, and I'm going to show you, the Center for the Response of the Emergency in Bogota, Colombia, UC units, and a post-COVID also unit. So thank you so much for that, and that's what I wanted to say at the beginning of the presentation. So moving forward, what I'm going to present is how in Bogota, specifically in a Secretary of Health, we created a program of lifelong learning for health in a different setting that is a hospital. So what we are going to present here is how these spaces can be really good to promote health, but not just to educate communities and citizens, but also health workers, and how those places can be transformed through arts, and how arts are a vehicle for learning, for understanding, and for communication. So this is a phrase about one of our really well-known neuroscientists in Colombia, but he works in New York. So what he says is that children must be taught to think, to generate their own solutions. You have to teach them to understand because knowledge is lost. And this is a really deep sentence because in many societies, what it is taught is concepts, but know how those concepts are applied in the real life. And when we are talking about health, it's quite similar. So many of you, many of us, receive biology classes, but we faced a pandemic, and many of us had forgotten about those minimal principles about virus, biology, microorganisms, and infections that we learned when we were at the primary or a high school. And then you have a lot of myths around vaccines, about infections, and so on. So if you really understand the concept, you are going to challenge when some information is wrong, and you are able to understand the meaning of the right or the wrong information. But if you just are taught to repeat information, then you are not understanding. And that is so important for health. So this is why I wanted to open in this case. So what is Bogota? We are in Latin America. We are the capital of Colombia. Bogota has a population of 7.9 million of inhabitants, but around the area of the metropolitan area is around 10 million. Also, Bogota has, or Colombia has two different systems of services to health. So you have the private system that most of the employees get when they are hired, but you have the subsidized system, that is the public one, when you are unable to pay and to get any insurance. And the cities are the ones responsible for the hospitals that provide services to the uninsured people. So in Bogota, we have 22 public hospitals of different level of complexities, and they are subdivided in 4 networks of service provision that are across the city. And we have around more or less 1 million people that is served by this public network. So it is huge and it's really important for the health of the people that most need access to health. So, what is the Bogota lifelong learning for health when we arrive? And remember, it was in 2020, and we were the Secretary of Health. At the time, I was working there at the government. So in 2016, 4 years before, the Secretary of Health created the Center for Education and Research for Health. And this is quite important because a commitment to educate from a different space that was not traditional, from the Secretary of Education to educate on health on these topics. Also, because we were new in the government in 2020, we had to face many policies, national policies, but our local regulation, and how we are going to combine the different activities and index that we had to provide to show results and to fulfill with the policies, then we had to create a really strategic approach. And 4 of those policies included articles to strengthen the capabilities of the human talent in health. And it was just not the human capabilities of the public sector, it was for all the workers in the city. So we had a mandate there to actually work with health workers, not just physicians, not just nurses, all health workers and people working in the hospitals. Then, when you have also this kind of policies landscape, you have children's and young of schools, adults, so you have multiple targets that you need to fill. Also health professionals and working with communities. But also, as you could see in the Yonsun Declaration, you have formal, non formal, and informal education. You need to combine them also in a way that you can approach, but we are not the Secretary of Education, so we cannot provide formal, but we can work with those that are providing formal education. So, how we formulated the program? So first of all, we need to have a baseline. So, what are the policies? What programs we can do? What we were doing at that time? Also, what we want to achieve in this program, and is new for the city. Also, we had to consider different factors, design the interventions, and then evaluate and do some learning about that process, create best practices, and also think about what we could do best for the next time. So I'm not going to get deep into the policies and to enlist them, but we actually had to do kind of a mapping when we considered 3 main factors. So the formality or informality degree of the action that we had to commit and the population that we had to actually include, if it was a collective or individual learning process, so it was in a classroom, or it was most focusing into the competences of an individual that has to perform better, or if were activities that we could do in classrooms or at hospitals, so more like the dimension of that, and also the target population. So as I mentioned, health workers, children, and so on. So at the end, the objective of the program was to create and implement the production and use of knowledge for health to address and meet national and local policy goals. And then our motivation behind that was to enhance healthcare professionals' competencies in humanization by implementing learning strategies, fostering empathy, communication, and patient-centered care to elevate the overall well-being and health experience of all citizens. And that is quite important, the factor of humanization. For us, it was key that the person was the center, but not the individual, that we could connect with emotions, that we are one person to another person. It's not a physician with a patient. It is not a teacher with alumni. It's one person talking with another one, connecting, exchanging knowledge. So that for us was key in many of the activities that we designed in this process, and where art is coming through as a vehicle actually to face that specific point. So some factors that we had to consider that were also in the guidelines. So there are many actors, private, public, universities, the government, the hospitals, that we had to actually enroll and work with them, as I'm going to show you. Also the regulatory framework, so in these institutional environments. So the culture is quite important because all environments have different dynamics. Governance of the education and the health system. So for example, we had one space that is called aulas hospitalarias. So it is teaching classrooms in hospitals. And those are managed by the Secretary of Education locally, but we wanted to do some work with them. So we have to work hand in hand with them for access and to implement some activities. Of course, the resources, responsibilities, the knowledge base, and this is quite important. And I think that you Koreans have invested a lot in the knowledge base of your people and your population. Then they are eager to keep learning and advancing their life. But you need to know what is the knowledge base of your population. So what they know, and how from that you can build on. So what are the basic concepts? Because you cannot teach them like quite elevated health concepts without having an understanding about if they are understanding you or not. and then how you are going to teach and how you are going to transfer that knowledge to the different communities and organizations. So we had some challenges, limited knowledge case in some cases, complexity relationships between some actors. One size doesn't fit all, so multiple approaches to one problem are valid. Also, there are limited and fragmented economic resources, cultural access in the organizations, and there are multiple responsibilities implementing actions. So I'm going to give you some of the examples of the initiatives that we had in Colombia. So as you can see, we had two mainly populations that we had to intervene, health professionals and communities. We created a program in the middle that is the program of art and health, and that was kind of a triangle when we defined the different settings in which we will be implementing activities, communities, hospitals, and educative settings. Art as the vehicle to do our teaching and to do changes, but also we had other initiatives. So we have teaching in hospitals, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Then we have activities for continuing professional development. So we had a big website and a platform with more than 80 online courses on health for health professionals and for communities. And when COVID arrived, that was fundamental to actually train the entire health workers of the entire city about how should be the process to treat the patient, since the guard at the gate of the hospital till the management of the waste and all the process in the case that people die, unfortunately, how to manage the body, and that was one of the cases and where we're using this learning process. So clinical simulation, I'm going to talk about that, and a network, like a city network of those that were doing learning activities, informal learning or continuous development learning, to create this kind of a community of practice. Then you have a participation in health information systems for everyone, and care providers. That was a really successful story, but I'm not going to talk about that one because it's not in a health system, but basically that was when taxi drivers, people in the pharmacy could be health promoters and teach others about how to take care of themselves. So, teaching hospitals. So in Bogota, we have, as I mentioned to you, 22 public hospitals, and the idea is that in my country, to be an official teaching hospital, you need to get that recognition by the government that you have a really good training in formal health education, that you have medical programs, nurse programs, and diversity programs there. When students go, review patients, and are teach in practice, then you do health research in hand with universities. Also, you have a really good management of all the finances and all the people that is going on there, but also humanization. So how you treat the patient, how you treat the people, how you treat your peers, how you train the student, and how is your relation with them. So those are the basic areas. But also, for us in the public sector, it was really important that the students that were there learn to solve the problems, not just to delegate to the specialist. Also, they had a human-centered attention. We are talking about the most vulnerable population being attended in those hospitals. So they had to be empathic and be in the other's shoes. Also, it has to be interdisciplinary. So it is not just the specialist with this big knowledge. It's working with the nurse, working with other colleagues to have a more human approach. Patient as a social being, and connection and empathy. So we had 4 public teaching hospitals. In those teaching hospitals, more than 1,300 students per year that get training. But also what we created was a coalition of actors. You can see the mayor of Bogota, the secretary of health of the public hospitals, the 4 networks, and 6 universities that were doing research in our public hospitals, teaching us and helping us, being peers in the process to improve, to get the recognition, and 4 hospitals that are already certified and are private. So for them, it was a commitment that the public sector also could have public hospitals of high quality for teach. So that was something in a coalition that we actually achieved, and it's not in the paper. Unfortunately, I didn't put the pictures here, but they were there having mentorship, working with the locals, with the people, with the researchers. We were doing tests actually and helping them in workshops to improve the capabilities to be the teaching hospital. So there was a really rich process. And thinking about lifelong learning, this is something when you can do change of the professionals that you in the future that are going to attend you and is going to attend your population and how they are learning and the values that they are learning. This is not about to be the best gynecologist. This is how to be the best practitioner for the population that you have and the kind of personals that you need in the future. So this is what we were aiming for. Also, we used art. This is in partner with the University Javeriana, that was one part of the coalition. I'm almost finishing. So what we did is that we simulate using artists, the artists from the Faculty of Arts, to simulate emergency of attention of victims of violence from different kinds, women, men, transsexual persons. And then you can see that they had a pre-test and a post-test. And if you have a lower score, it means that your attitudes about myths about sexual aggression decreases. So we had actually a reduction with the intervention that you can see here on the other side. This is another program that we did in the association, in the collaboration of the Ibero-American Organization of States and the University National of Colombia. That is a relationship between leaderships, art, and humanization. The University National of Colombia was part also of the coalition of actors. So we teach them about leadership training, health workers, also how to create caring atmospheres for them within the hospital. And we had many stories when actually they could see the change in the environment and also how to appreciate what they have. And really vital import here is that with these kind of spaces, you can reconnect with your vocation, so with your professional vocation of serving others, which in so many cases is lost. And after a pandemic, you are emotionally unattached to another human being because it's a number and it's happening, and also you don't want to get emotionally attached and break down. So in this case, you need to reconnect with that service purposes, and then that's something that we're working hard to do it through these leadership and art activities, and we still need to do it more. And this is another space that was that I mentioned at the beginning, working with children that were in the pediatric area, hospitalized. So this is beautiful because it was also with the OAE, but also with a private hospital that is Fundación Cardioinfantil. And they actually created a teaching material that you can see here, and it was co-created with patients. It was co-created with physicians, and it was thought about what they need to explain to children and a family, what is the situation and the medical condition, and also how they can develop healthy habits and follow up the treatments. So this is the material that you can see here, and it was thought about accompaniment, like going to accompaniment and do many other things. So this is so beautiful and was created there. And this is the number of people, and these are the topics. And I want to just talk about grief and resilience, because in hospitals, you need to address these emotions. They're separated from their families, isolated, and also sometimes dealing with really bad news about their health condition. So you need that emotional process. And this is finally what I mentioned before, the training that we have for our health workers in the health system. That was amazing. The number of people trained by you, KAIIC, and the alliance with the organization of the World Health Organization in Latin America. So it helps us a lot through COVID. And some final conclusions and remarks. So planning love and learning programs, analyzing local policies gives opportunity to integrate actions and articulate organizations, but also hospitals are lifelong learning spaces. And that's quite important. Articulation of local actors is fundamental to implement innovative actions. Also, art is an important vehicle and tool to support these kind of activities. And health workers are the soul of hospitals. it's essential to take care of them because they take care of us. And this picture is from last year. We had an amazing network of collaborators from Latin America, Spain, Portugal, Mexico, Peru, Colombia, talking about health and art and how in different spaces art can help, not just on mental health, not just in education, but also in social inclusion. Thank you so much.
네, 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Please give her a round of applause. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. So, in order to have a health city, we need to be also healthy. Why don't we stretch ourselves? It's our Korean way of stretching ourselves. You can look at the person next to you and please stretch yourself. And the Mr. Didier Jordan, he also looks really tired. So why don't we give them a round of applause? Now we're going to connect through the online where we are going to connect. So KAIIC City in Ireland, we are going to connect. So please give us a big applause. So Daniel Barrett is going to provide a case studies of KAIIC City. Are you ready, Mr. Barrett? Mr. Dennis Barrett, are you ready? Please go ahead with your presentation. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning from Cork in Ireland. Good afternoon to Korea. I am very happy and I'm also very sad. I'm very happy that I am able to participate in this forum online, but I am sad that I cannot be there in person. I was very much looking forward to joining you for this important event. We have, over many years, strong connections with Korea. I admire greatly the progress Korea has made in promoting lifelong learning, and the Learning City movement in Korea I think it is the best in the world. I think we can all learn a lot from it. I know my time is short, so I will start at the conclusions and I will share with you what we have examined over many years in Cork in Ireland. Our strongest conclusion is to develop lifelong learning for health and well-being. You need to work across the sectors. You need to bring your learning partners with your health partners. They need to work together. They need to work together strongly if you're going to make progress. You need to bring your government partners and your non-government partners, your community and voluntary partners, and they need to work together strongly if you're going to reach all of the citizens of your city. And that is our strongest lesson that we've learned over many, many years in Cork in Ireland. I'm going to stop sharing my screen briefly and I'm going to introduce myself. In Cork, we have been working to be a city of learning since 2023. So for 20 years now, we are sharing this vision of a lifelong learning society with all of our partners. And I want to say that over many years we have had connections with Korea. We hosted a delegation from Gwangmyeong City in 2016 in Cork, and we were very pleased to do so. And in 2017, we had the city of Suwon was joining our city in when we hosted the International Conference on Learning Cities. Our city is a small city by international standards, 220,000, and we were really honored to receive the Learning City Award in 2015 and to host the conference in 2017. We are a UNESCO Learning City, but we are also a World Health Organization Healthy City. As a city, we hosted European Capital of Culture in 2005. We are an age-friendly city, and we are working to become a trauma-informed city and a child-friendly city, and all of those are important in our efforts. In all of our work on health and well-being, we take an approach that came from the conference hosted in Cork in 2017 when the city of Suwon joined us there. And that was back to the Sustainable Development Goals. I always remind myself with the pin that this is a task that we've set out for ourselves and we must work hard to achieve it. The outcome policy document, which has been crucial for us, is to ask ourselves to be more green and healthy, more equitable and inclusive, and to support decent work and entrepreneurship. That was the document that brought all of the SDGs together. And in our work, in our Lifelong Learning Festival, we work to create more equitable participation for all our citizens, particularly those who are excluded, often excluded. And we heard excellent examples earlier about including people with disabilities, also ethnic minorities, newcomers, migrants are all priorities for us. In our inclusion work, we reach out to small community groups where everybody would know each other. That we found is the best way to connect with people right throughout the city. To become a more green city, we have worked hard, and again, very impressive examples heard earlier about being carbon neutral. All our Lifelong Learning Festival efforts have become very strong on green agenda, planting, community gardens, food that you can eat, etc. And then health. That brings us back to the topic for today. A significant part of our learning came in 2020 when we joined with the city of Osan to coordinate a cluster for health and well-being globally. And we hosted in December the first webinar, and Alex Howells spoke a little bit about that, where we shared good practice from cities right around the world. We had Bogota was a member of that cluster, so it's nice to see Sarah presenting on their progress. In 2021, Osan hosted the second webinar, and again, a whole host of cities shared their good practice on promoting health and well-being. And we presented that together at the conference in Yeonsu in 2021, the 5th International Conference on Learning Cities. We co-presented that, the Mayor of Osan, at that time, Mr. Kwak Sang-wook, and the then Mayor of Cork, Colm Kelleher. The conference itself was opened by the Prime Minister. So just to give you a sense of what we learned from that, our webinar report really showed us that the three layers of learning, the formal partners, our schools or universities, we have 2 universities in Cork, our informal partners, all those community groups, youth organisations, and non-formal partners, all the learning opportunities that happen throughout life. And in saying our approach to health and well-being, we recognise that we are lifelong, but also that learning is life-wide, that learning occurs in the home, in your workplace, in your community, and throughout your activities. And we took from all of that time, and we have brought this home to our work in Cork, the role of citizen activists. And I want to come back to our conclusion on how powerful the role of a community partner, a voluntary partner, working with the government departments, that can make a real difference. And the other key lesson we learned is to go across the sectors, not just to limit our efforts within the learning partners, and like Sarah said, to connect with health partners, to connect with our economic partners, to connect with partners who are committed to working in the environment, and all of those 17 sectors represented in the Sustainable Development Goals. You need to bring all of those partners together if you're going to make a real difference. And we learned hugely from our experiences during COVID. Our Lifelong Learning Festival was paused for that year, but we took the same approach to respond to the needs of very vulnerable people in the city at that time. And then focusing on well-being, We all know the importance of well-being, our mental health, our learning from activities in the arts and creativity. That learning itself is a positive activity for well-being. In other words, learning is good for you. All learning. It improves your mood, creates better social connections, improves your motivation. And this was one of the real strong things when we had to switch to online learning. The appetite by people to reconnect with each other was really evident. And when we restarted our festival in 2021, and again this year, that was very evident how much people missed the connection and how much it had affected their mental health. We also took a lesson from research undertaken by the National Economic and Social Council, and their lessons was that all those connections that I spoke about, interagency structures, connecting with the community and voluntary sector, the NGOs, all of those were the key lessons from COVID. To connect all of those partners together as respected and equal partners, regardless of size or budget, that all of those partners had a key role to play. And then to bring it forward into this year, and I'm delighted to see our friend Didier Jourdan there today to launch the guide. We brought a panel of all of those partners together in Cork for our seminar, and we were joined by the former Prime Minister of Ireland for that day. And it was an exchange of views from that panel that confirmed for me, and that we communicated to Didier, that the guide was needed, but it built on something quite strong that we already have been working on in Cork for many years. And that brings me back to where this fits to our work as a learning city to implement all of the Sustainable Development Goals. We've spoken about Goal 3 on health, Goal 4 on learning, Goal 11, which Alex mentioned, Sustainable Cities and Communities, and then now Goal 17, partnerships for the goals. So the example on this slide is all the partners that we have worked with so far in Cork and that we will need for the future. So to come back to our conclusion, our key lesson is that the smaller partner, the community partner, the citizen activist, by connecting them together with the public partner, by your economic partners, your health partners, and working solidly together on a shared project, that has made all the difference. I want to give a sincere thank you to our hosts in Korea for enabling me to participate. I want to mention particularly Kim Yu-mi and Ayang Bai, who have been really helpful. I'm so sorry not to be there in person. I have had a long time ambition to learn from you in person in Korea, and I hope to join you some stage in the future. And as always, you are welcome to come to Cork. So for our festival next year, or at any time of the year, please always feel welcome to come and share with us. Thanks, everybody.
네, 감사합니다. 아일랜드 코쿠시의 실천 전략에 대해서 데니스 베르님께서
So regarding the action plan of the Cork City, the speaker provided information. So now we're going to have the last presentation. This is the implication of the fifth, the UNESCO Lifelong Learning Conference. For that, the lifelong learning for health in cities, a guide was launched. So for that, he's going to make a presentation. Please welcome him with a round of applause. Since we are running out of time, we need to make it quick.
시간 맞춰서 또.
So I believe that it is a virtue to finish our forum on time. So please welcome him with a round of applause.
Wow. The first thing is, wow. Impressive presentations for these cities in Korea, but also, you know, of course, in the different countries, in Nairobi, in Cork, in Bogota. We have a lot to learn from each other's. And just before giving my brief presentation, because it's really late, I just would like to begin by giving you the simple conclusion. The guide
is yours. The guide is open. The guide is yours, made with and for the cities, and the guide is open because we're going to enrich it all over the next years, especially in the relationship between health and sustainable development. So it's going to be very brief. The title of my speech is A Collective Endeavor, because this is what's important. This is a collective adventure, because no one can think alone what is good for all cities on the planet. We are so different. But we observed during these 2 years of intensive work that we have a lot in common. And what's in the guide is what we have in common, and that has been summarized in a perfect way by Esther, by Sarah, and by the different speakers. So let's come back to the beginning. What's such a guide? It's simple. This is the social expectations. Everybody wants to know more about health. Everybody wants to be prepared to a health crisis. And the aspiration for health and well-being is a fundamental trend in our societies. So we really need to work together and to support ourselves and to find a way to help all the cities to learn from the others, and also to learn from what do we know from research. Because you know, when it's about the determinants of health, when it's about what works in terms of health, we need research. You remember when you were younger, when your teacher or your parents say, you cannot smoke, it's dangerous for you. What happened in your mind, your adolescent mind? Was, oh yes, that's a good idea. Yes, ma'am, yes, teacher, I won't smoke. That's not like that. Learning for health is something very complicated. So we need to learn from our practices and also from research. And thanks God, we have a lot of data about that. So it means that we need to share all we know together. The second thing is that it's not so easy to define what all citizens have to know and what kind of competencies all Korean, Colombian, Kenyan citizens have to manage. And then one of the most important consequences of the work is to define clearly that there's two families of knowledge and skills. The first one is what we call health literacy. What do we need to know just for, to protect, to promote our individual health and the health of our family? One thing, everybody. Of course, it's about diet. It's about the use of the healthcare system. It's about the use of the digital tools we have about health. But it's not enough. For cities, we also need to build the capacities of citizens to make possible their participation in decisions related to their health. So clearly, this guide, it's not a kind of medical list of what people need to know. No. It's a support for a municipal policy. And the target of a municipal policy, this is the citizens. So we need, all of us, to think health issues and health education and health learning from the point of view of the municipal policies. And this is what we did all together. And you're going to find in the guide, all the elements to make explicit these two dimensions. No need to talk about the Yeonsu Declaration. You gave us, Mr. Representative of the Yeonsu Municipality, a very clear talk about the Yeonsu Declaration. We consider for us that it's a roadmap. It's not an end. This is more the beginning of a long-term change in terms of lifelong learning for health. So what kind of guide? It's easy to understand, and if you had time just to have a look on the guide, you saw that it is very practical. we hope that it is relevant, and the reason why we think it could help you is that we made it with you. And it is also full of examples linked to different cities. The idea is to provide tools and different resources, examples, and you have the cover. It's very recent, you know, it's yesterday, isn't it, that it has been published. So we have the guide. So what's in the guide? Again, let's come back to what are the needs of a city. The first thing is that when you are talking about health, if you're not a doctor, people say, hey, you're the mayor. Why would you talk about health? What is your legitimacy? You're an education professional. What is your legitimacy? So the first thing that has been asked by the municipalities is to have, I would say, an advocacy document to set clearly the legitimacy of cities to contribute to the health of the population, not only through healthy environment or access to service, but also by the development of the skills of the population. The second part of the guide is based on the experience of many cities. How could we make it working? You know, what that kind of policy looks like, and we have three excellent examples from different countries and two perfect examples from Korea too. And finally, this is more a section about the tools, the concrete tools to implement these lifelong learning policies, and you'll find a lot of resources. But what's important is that this is an open guide. Earlier today, Alex talked about the question of the link with the sustainable development education, with the citizenship education. It's difficult for a city to have many different policies. You know, it couldn't be a kind of millefeuille of policies. We need to work more about the way in which the Lifelong for Health policy could be embedded in a kind of more comprehensive design. And this is what we're going to do in the next years, and again, all together based on your experience. What approach? Oh, this slide is just based on what you and the cities, many cities, because it's more than 100 people who contributed to the guide, said. The first thing is to raise awareness of the lifelong learning for health. Since it's not evident, the first step is to talk to the citizens, to talk to the associations, to talk to the healthcare services, to talk to all the people in order to make clear what's the contribution of lifelong learning for health. So this is why there's advocacy tools, just to talk to the people. The second part, of course, the second step of the process is, of course, the development of the policy and the way in which we can implement this policy at the city level. It's not theoretical. This is just what we could learn from the other cities, and we put that together. And there's tools for advocacy, inventory, action plan, health learning pathways, and evaluation. The more concrete it is, the better it is. We just need to use it to move forward together. What is the key principles? 4 key principles. All cities, every city on the planet, have an influence on the determinants of health of the population, on the factors that influence health. So the first step is to value what is already existing, but also to share it. This is what we are doing with the guide. This is what you are doing today in this conference, aligning what's done at a city level by the healthcare sector, by the associations, the sports club, the formal education sector, and finally improving it through, I would say, capacity building, through training, in order to make it more, I would say, strong and understandable. For me, if a health learning pathway is not understandable by the weakest, among the weakest in our population, we fail. We need to have, a policy that is understandable by everybody, all citizens in the city. This slide is very close to the one showed by the different speakers from the 5 cities we just heard. You know, I think of the mayor of this brilliant city talking about, you know, the old people at the bus stop talking to another old person about how to get a ticket. Okay? What is it? This is just informal learning. And of course, in the field of health, the main source of learning is the family, social networks, friends. We cannot underestimate the importance of such sources. So that's why talking about lifelong learning for health means using the transformative power of formal, non-formal, and informal education and the mobilization of all the key actors, of course, the formal education systems, of course, also the healthcare system. Because every appointment in your life was an opportunity to learn. How could we harness the power of this medical appointments? And that's also the case of what happens in the sports club association faith community and also in the cultural system. You saw that many of the speakers today talk about heart, culture, because health is part of this dimension of life. And the mass media, the media on demand, and the social medias. I can tell you that, for example, the UNESCO Institute for Technology for Education works very hard on developing tools for adolescents about different subjects, especially sexuality education, in order to counterbalance the influence of what we have on the social media, on the internet. So this is something we have clearly to work on. There's many ways to formalize a lifelong learning for health policy. Probably the most understandable by the population is what we call the health learning pathway. The health learning pathway, this is just putting together all the contributions of health learning all over the life. It's not so complicated. This is just having such, such slide from perinatal period to old age, and to see what this contribution of family, friends, and the community, formal education settings and workplace, community services, and associations to the health of people. And you find in the guide examples of health learning pathways. So to summarize, and I'm just going to say again what all the speakers said, intersectoral work is the precondition. Inventory of the existing contribution to lifelong learning for health is the starting point. Structuring, organizing the pathway is critical. Keeping the commitment alive on a long period of time, think of the example of Cork, is absolutely critical too. And we need to give a visibility, because it's a political matter. So the municipality have to be able to show what the city is doing for the citizens. And of course, sustainability and process, quality evaluation improvement in order to make it positive and efficient. Clearly, yes. What's important is to, activate all the levers we have at a city level, the policies, the structures and systems, the organizations, the human resources, and the practice to build a comprehensive lifelong learning for health policy. So yes, this is your guide. The guide is open. We're going to work on it in the following years. And I really would like to thank all of you for your contribution to the guide and, of course, for your attention today. Thanks a lot.
네, 감사합니다. 네, 좋은 말씀해 주셨는데요. 네, 정말 고맙습니다.
Thank you for your comments. Next. So we will have the discussion session. However, we are behind the schedule. So we will have a forum tomorrow in Busan. So because of time constraints, based on the presentations, Chairman Park Seung-won will give opening statement, and Professor Chen Seung-won will give us the summary. Please give us a really big round of applause. So, Mr. Chairperson, please give us a special invitation, the opening statement.
예, 이 행사를
So, this event is co-hosted by UNESCO. So, Mr. Lau and Miss Marie came to be here with us. So please give us the presentation. Please give us the remarks, Miss Marie and Mr. Rao.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if Raul is with us right now online, but I will simply provide maybe a few concluding remarks for today as we draw the event to a close. I just want to maybe encapsulate the essence of our gathering at this Learning City Healthy Learning City Forum. So today, united front under the banner of lifelong learning, emphasized its really indispensable role in shaping this more inclusive future for all through innovation. And I think I'm really going to harbor the point made by Didier just now. The municipalities have to be able to show what they're doing for their citizens, but they can't do that alone. And I think we really heard today that a very important lesson is cross-sectoral stakeholder involvement is at the heart of some of these contributions for lifelong learning for health. And I hope that the guide is helpful in the future to all cities here in implementing those actions of involving all stakeholders in the matter. So we really heard today from all of our esteemed mayors who showcased their unwavering commitment to health inside their cities as well as worldwide from our speakers who were here today. And recalling our assembly in Yongsu-gu amidst the global challenges 2 years ago, I think our resilience and our shared purpose continues to shine quite brightly. So the launch of the Lifelong Learning for Health in Cities guide today marks the significant process, which is a guide very much at the heart of UNESCO's Learning City approach and has been demanded by cities over the past 2 years. It has shaped their ongoing activities, but also hopefully will continue to shape the future activities of all learning cities. And I hope that this meticulously crafted document by all global experts here around the table and online will be used widely by all. So it's not really a document, but more a tool for all. And it doesn't really also aim to replace anything that the cities are already undertaking, but rather it seeks to harmonize and potentially simplify and amplify, as well as connect all of the different efforts that cities today are making in their shared experiences on implementing health for lifelong learning. And so today I close just by extending my gratitude to every contributor and participant and thanking the organizers as well from Gwangmyeong, from KLC, and all the different participants who are here. Thank you for being part of the journey, and I look forward to our continued discussions tomorrow in Busan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your concluding remarks is so wonderful and fantastic. We would like to conclude our session 2, and also we will continue our session in Busan. It is not a closing. We will continue. And we learn a lot of the experiences from Yeonsu and Kenya, Nairobi, and Ireland, Cork, and Colombia, Bogota, and also the fantastic your guide and the implementation know-how is so wonderful, impressing. So we would like to say again the thanks for all the presentation, also the comments, and particularly the UIL and the DDL Jourdan's guide. He mentioned about the valuing, sharing, learning, and improving. It is perfect. the guide for the learning cities development. So our continuous discussion and debate and presentation will be in Busan, I expect. I would like to send my deepest appreciation all the online participants and also all the offline participants from the all Korean learning cities. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
So Mr. Mayor will give us the statement.
네, 그 유네스코
UNESCO
관계자
officials for the live learning. I would really like to extend my gratitude to you. I'm really pleased to host this event here in Gwangmyeong. 2 years ago, Yeonsu-gu hosted the conference for the declaration of healthy lifelong learning. And the cities made a presentation on how they practice it. So it was a very meaningful time for me, and I learned a lot. How we live, this question, it starts from this question. How we will live. So in the universal principle, we have to live healthily. Second of all, so we are living within the inequality. So how to build a healthy cities? So the disabled, children, the elderly, how can we encompass those people in an inclusive way? How to make cities for these people? Third of all, so climate crisis we are confronted with. So we have to build solidarity. So what is the future of the healthy cities? The 3 frameworks are really big frames. So we have to think about the ways to address these problems. There is a role for the local government, and there is a role for citizenship. The thought of citizens are really needed for it, and I am reminded of it once again. So taking this opportunity, I really learned a lot when it comes to healthy lifelong cities. So what kind of efforts we have to make healthier cities? So this is the time for us to contemplate it. Personally, I have a concern. When we live, the most important thing is health. So when people are getting older, they are really worried about their health. There are 4 concerns. So in Korean society, when they reach 64 years old, they are considered the elderly. So they are worried about their physical strength. And also there is a worry about the mental health. And there is the other problem is the economic. And the other problem is the social connection. So before they reach the elderly age, they have to achieve those items to live a healthier life. So the society of the elderly, before reaching the elderly when they are the middle age, they have to build the physical strength, mental strength, and the economic strength, and social connection, social relationship. There should be a training to teach those things to people. And many people are contemplated on it, and Gwangmyeong City is not an exception. So to make a healthier cities, so there should be consensus with the citizens, and I will do my best. And this forum will be really give the opportunity to when it comes to these efforts. So DDL Jordan, thank you, and Miss Marie, thank you. And UNESCO, UIL officials, I'd like to say thank you.
So, based on this previous the international conference, so we were able to having a opportunity to have a in-depth discussion reflection on the Yeonsu Declaration. So in order to congratulate this opportunity, we are having this small event. So if distinguished guests, if you open this open this one like this way, could you do that? So one, healthy city, and second, the climate crisis era, and then realize carbon neutrality. So one, healthy city, and second, climate crisis era, and third, and carbon neutrality. So when I say 3, 2, 1, the guests at the bottom, please raise the mobile phone and turn on the light in the mobile phone. So one more time. So in order to congratulate the launch of this, the guide of UNESCO, we are going to say one, health city. One, health city. Second, climate crisis era. Third, let's practice carbon neutrality. Thank you very much. Please wave your mobile phone with the light. Very beautiful. So let's take a photo. So this has been prepared by Korea. So please do once again. Yes, we will do that. So let's say one, health city. Second, climate crisis era. Third, let's practice carbon neutrality. Let's practice it. Please give us a big round of applause. So we all close all the sequence of our forum. So this is the 2023 International Forum of Lifelong Learning Cities. So this has been organized by the Gwangmyeong City and also the Korea Association of Lifelong Learning City, along with a partnership with the UNESCO UIL. So thank you very much.